You're a rebel, getting into trouble. You are kinda like a fire, like a fire, like a fire. Unpredictable, so original. You are never backing down, backing down, backing down. That's what I like about you. So dangerous, I get this rush when I'm with you. I go all in to lose or win. Build things up to knock 'em down. It's the way we keep our high, moving like a hurricane. There will come a time for when we can wash away your sins, settle down, but until then, we're like a hurricane. You're so different, kind of ignorant. You don't care what people say, people say, people say. I'm going crazy for you, baby. Don't know how you're making me feel this way. What can I say? That's what I like about you. So dangerous, I get this rush when I'm with you. I go all in to lose or win. Build things up to knock 'em down. It's the way we keep our high, moving like a hurricane.
1,000 words ain't enough to define the body of, yeah. Caught her look and she wants it back. She's firing up that body up, yeah, babe. You think that I want you, but nah, babe. You're one in a million, but it's not for me. I'm not into girls with a plastic trace. Don't take it too personally, yeah. My fault, my bad. The words out, but you aren't ready for it. Show off, appearance of I got this, but I got.
Host for this evening, Mark Horned Badger Miko John, and joining me for the first time ever is Fennekas Vanafeld, or also known as Heart of Lapis.
Hello, hello. Oh my god, my voice is already gone. That's not a good sign.
We need a replacement. We need a replacement, guys. She's gone.
I'll be fine. I cleared my throat. It's all good now.
So we have been kind of watching these guys for a little bit, do some practicing. Who has caught your eye already?
I'm.
I will step in and I will just point out the enormous gap that
Yeah.
Darren King has out front just now,
Yeah,
and
I'm noticing that as well. That's
yeah,
crazy.
he was kind of standing around in the pits for a while, but he came out and made everyone look stupid. But right now, what we've got is the championship standings. You can see that King is way out in front with a 44-point gap. Barnett there, he was up though, doing a great time. But again, King came out and kind of smashed it. Simon Thompson there in second place, the first of the McLarens, and we've got Jonathan Ogden, 66 points behind. But I mean, you can just see how large that gap is after only one race. But you can also see all the different classes here. So we do have Darren King as a pro, and we've got all the amateurs and the pro-ams. So you can kind of expect, roughly based on that class alone, it can be adjusted. But that class will kind of give you an indication of where they are expected to be. So we kind of knew Darren King was going to be way up the front.
Yeah, like from last week, I watched that. That was amazing. Like he's good. He's definitely gonna be at the front, I assume. There's also obviously I know the name Barnett. He's also really quick. There's a couple of other guys. I think this is gonna be so much fun. So good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one name that I do want to see up there is Gareth Walker. He's a good friend of ours, and honestly, on his day, he really does have the pace. So it'll be good to kind of see him get up there and show what he's got. Probably not going to be competing for a pole position. That probably is sealed, but it would be nice to see him up there in the top 5.
Definitely, but yeah, it's so far he doesn't look like he's too close. Fredrickson is actually fairly low. He's fairly far off the pace for now, but you know, we never know. We'll see in the qualifying, and yeah, this
Yeah,
is only free
Fredrickson-
practice after all.
Yep, it will be. I know it does say 48 minutes up the top there, but don't worry, chat. We are not going to be having to wait. We will literally be leaving the session in a few seconds. And there we go, as soon as I say it. So now
That was
we
good
are
timing.
in qualifying proper. And this is where it all counts. Now, for those who haven't seen this before, we are in France. And if you are a fan of Formula 1, the track layout is pretty much identical, except down the Mistral Straight is just a straight instead of having a random chicane thrown into it. So GT cars only have the straight, so that is the only real difference if you are a fan of F1 and have never watched us before. And you can see now the first cars going out, going to try and get their laps in and start attacking this track.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that the chicane is not here for the GT cars, because honestly, it's just better this way. I like it.
It makes it easier. It takes away one incredibly hard braking zone, but what it does do is allows for an enormous slipstream all the way down this very, 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 very long straight. So if you are the front of that train, you are most likely going to get jumped.
Yeah, but it makes things interesting, at least. I mean, people in qualifying, obviously, they have to make sure that there's enough space, because whether they want it or not, the slipstream, well, they will want it, but they don't want to get too close, obviously, because that could cause problems. But during the race, obviously, the slipstream is gonna be great, and it's gonna really show the differences in cars and, yeah, what they can do.
Yep, and for those who haven't seen it, this is there are mixed cars, so it's not everyone just driving the Ferrari or whatever. So we do have different constructors, and honestly, they are all pretty well balanced, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. But there is no one car really that you could be like, well, this car is going to win this race, and then this car will win this race because it suits the characteristics. There are some cars that will get benefits, but generally it is still down to driver skill.
That is definitely true. Like, even if one car maybe has a little bit of an advantage with the slipstream, then another car, you know, it's still a lot up to driver as well. And obviously defending, if they do it cleanly and if they do it well, and there's enough corners and other places on this track, so it's gonna be really exciting to see exactly that kind of like the straight, but also the parts where there's more corners, like in sector 1 and sector 3. So that'll be really good.
Yep, and McFriedlich has pointed out the one car. I was going to not mention it because I don't think we have any Mercs in here at the moment. No, I don't think we do, unless I'm just going completely blind in old age. But yeah, the Merc on this track, top line speed isn't that great. Would get eaten alive down the straight, but we don't have any Mercs in here, so we can ignore that.
Probably a good thing then. It looks like who's actually the first one out on track? The first one's gonna be sorry?
Tudor.
Okay, so he's gonna
Car number 155.
Yes, okay. So he's gonna this time pretty soon. I'm really curious what they're gonna do.
Yeah, right now he's there are definitely people going faster than him on the track, but Thompson looks like he's putting a good first kind of lap for him. But let's see what Tudor can do for his first lap in as he comes across the line and a 156.5. Now I do expect that to be beaten, and as I said, Thompson was on an absolute flyer and he immediately beats it. That's an enormous gap, 1.8 seconds, and Bauer getting up there as well. Now, where is Barnett? I want to catch Barnett coming across the line here. He's actually only just starting his lap, so we'll come back to him, but Bauer and Barnett were doing some pretty close times in the practice session, so we'll keep an eye out for that. And
Also,
where
it looks
is
like
the man himself?
T. Williams did a pretty poor time compared to like the others. I hope that he'll be able to improve, because 4.2 seconds off is quite a lot, and that would not be a good sign going into the race. So I hope that whatever was causing him to be a bit slow, I hope he can manage a better lap next time.
It looks to mostly be in Sector 3, so I'm sure he can get that under control. But here comes the man of the moment, Mr. King himself. But it looks like he has invalidated this lap, or was it? Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's good to see that Ogden just jumped to P5. He's only a second off, and is he starting a new lap now? God, I get so confused with all these cars on the track.
There are a lot of cars. We do need to keep an eye on that, because right now, obviously they're all kind of spread out, but at the start of the race we'll probably have a better idea of where everyone's relative pace is, and there should, as I say, be a large train with the slipstream, so we'll see who is able to keep into that. But I'm just having a look at the times, and it looks like Tudor was going about 6/10 faster so far on this lap, so he looks like he could be about to set in a good one. But
meanwhile,
again,
Barnett is about to cross the line.
Let's have a
So what's that gonna be? That is a P2 so far. That is pretty awesome. Oh no,
Bauer immediately. Yeah. I mean, as I said, Bauer and Barnett were swapping times with each other, so it does look like that is still the case. They're being nice and close, but here is the man of the moment. We know that this is going to be a great lap time. King is coming round. We went a little bit wide there, but managed to keep it in. Let's see if he's still able to. It looks like he's about 6/10 up just now, so he is absolutely flying. Whether this lap will count, I don't know if he just went too wide on that run there, but yeah, he currently is absolutely flying.
That's good news for him. Meanwhile, I also noticed, because you mentioned Garrett Walker earlier, he's actually current P4. Now, I'm expecting King to, jump to first, to be honest, so that would make Garrett Walker fifth, but still, like you said, you want him to do well, that could be good for him.
Yep. Across the line he comes, but I believe, is this lap valid?
I don't think it was. No.
So yeah, that's another attempt for King. I don't honestly think he'll mind driving around another lap, because honestly, from the pace of that last lap, it looks like he certainly has the pace to be a good second quicker than these lads at this moment in time, which is kind of terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
these drivers are not slow by any stretch of the imagination, and King just comes in and somehow manages to wrestle his car round and go a second quicker than what we know to be incredibly quick drivers can do. So we'll keep an eye on that, but right now we've got Stokes here in P5. He's on another lap, currently setting about exactly the same time as what he was doing before. He will hope to try and gain a little bit on the drivers in front and see if he can move himself up the grid, but he is a long way back from Gareth Walker. And Pierce manages to slot himself into P5 as we're talking about that.
Yeah. Oh, did Gareth actually also just improve? Because he's a lot closer now to compared to the time. It's only 4/10 now. I believe earlier it was 8/10.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it looks like he's managed to get an improvement done. And Wright's coming at stop on the line. I'm just going straight back into the pits. Not. You are allowed to do that. You know, if you can stop on track and just return to pits, you don't need to do an in-lap. So you will see all these drivers do that at some point in time. But here we go. This time on the start-finish straight, it looks like he's invalidated this lap time again, and he's just slowed it right down for this sector 3 as well. So I can't even guess what time he was going to put. I don't know if he's doing this on purpose, just to, you know, set a few laps before. I mean, there's only 5 minutes left to qualify, and you'd think he'd want to get at least one in.
Yeah, at least to have a a base, like something, so that he's not all the way at the back. You know, if he doesn't get any time in at all, that, I mean, he would have to probably battle his way through. Obviously, he would want to set a good time, and for that, it needs to be valid. So hopefully he can put it together and fix where he goes wrong, and yeah, not go over the track limits.
It's interesting though, because he could literally go round at a saunter for what he's capable of and still set a really, really competitive lap time. So it's interesting that he is... Oh, Barnett
Oh no.
almost didn't get out of the way of King there, and that was nearly
Yeah.
causing issues. But again, he's through, and I think he's invalidated again. Like, going off there to get round Barnett has caused an invalidation by the looks of things on the tracker I can see. So this is another lap time that he will not finish.
Yeah, that's definitely something. Like, he can't be doing this on purpose, just to, like, I don't know, have a lap with it or something. Because, like, if anything happens out of his control, he could just not set a time. So he must absolutely. Now, obviously, this lap there was a bit of a small little incident, or almost incident, really, that caused that to invalidate. But yeah, next lap, like he's only got like a few laps left, and I don't know how much fuel he's got into his tank, but
I mean, looks like he's got plenty because he's not went back to pits. But
true.
yeah, this is kind of worrying.
Yeah.
Because if he's this inconsistent during the race, there's a high chance that he'll be getting a drive-through penalty, if not 7 of them.
That's very true. Meanwhile, yes, Kononov and Wagner also haven't set a time yet, so I'm very curious about what's going on with those two as well. If they're struggling in specific places, or if it's just bad luck. But you know, for their sake as well, hopefully they get a time on there soon.
Yeah, Kononov right now is on a valid lap, but he is 1.8 seconds down. So. And he's just went off the track and invalidated. I am so sorry. That was my fault. I'm going to... Yep. Whoops. And there's a safety car being deployed. What is that for? Can we find out?
I have no idea. Maybe it's just a test, because I don't see anything.
I also don't see anything, so it might just be a test, but it is away now, so I presume it was a test. Which might have got King's heart racing a little bit.
Yeah, it's just a test. Race control. And that's good to know.
So King now, he has his teammate in front of him as well. But he's already still 3 seconds down. It looks like he saw that safety car and backed out. so not great for him. Kononov now starting his lap, hoping that he's going to have a clean one, but what is going to happen here? The man we expect to be on pole down in 21st position right now. Bauer is probably counting all of his lucky stars and hoping King never actually manages to set this lap time. But here he is, coming round. Final turn. This lap is valid, but it is so slow that he might not have as well have not set it. So
wow, yeah. Well, at least it is a valid lap.
Yep.
It's more than nothing.
The problem now is he cannot set a time. He does not have time.
Oh no, you're right.
So
there's not enough time left. Oh. Okay, that is interesting. Yeah.
I might have to. We might have to ask him this question later. Okay, that is very interesting. But let's have a little look around at the rest of these drivers here. So we've got Tudor here coming round. He currently is on a slightly better lap time. He's going about 3.5 tenths faster than done before, which would move him up several positions. So he can potentially just get in, potentially into the top 10, maybe P11. So let's see if he's able to do this on his final lap.
Also, I noticed that Wagner has set a time by now, so he's not going to be all the way at the back. He's currently P15. That's good. I'm still looking at. Oh wait, Kononov just set a time as well, P20.
Oh, P20.
Yes.
But Thompson there with the new fastest lap, which puts him 18 thousandths in front of Bauer. So that was a great lap in there by Thompson. And,
yeah, that's incredibly well done.
Yep, and he is actually going faster again, and I'm pretty sure he's got time to set. Yeah, he definitely has time to set this lap time as well, so he could potentially move himself up a little bit further. And there's not many people out on track right now who can stop him. So, yeah, let's have a little look and see what Tudor can do when he's crossing the line. He's coming around the final corner.
I wonder if there'll be
validated right on the final turn.
Oh no, that is so unfortunate. That is sad.
Yep, that
yeah,
is
I wonder
sad.
if Thompson is actually improving right now, he might get into the 53s. Would that be possible?
He currently is just a few thousandths off getting into the 53s, so it's possible he could do it in this final sector.
Well, Octane is getting well, Subsume is a little bit far away for that, but that would have been useful. Yeah, he's P8 right now, so he's definitely got some pace. So I'm really curious what this time is gonna be. If he's gonna be able to.
It is currently good enough for P3.
Oh wow, that would be really good news for him.
Yep, he's doing a really good job right now. If he can just maintain it through these final few corners, not making any mistakes, not invalidating the lap time, he could put himself right up in the sharp end of this grid.
I would like to see that also.
Thompson
into the 53s, 53.967. That's awesome. That's so cool to see.
Yep, and here we go. Can Octane get that P3 position? No, he can't.
P5, that's still pretty good.
Yeah, he lost it in Sector 3. He was about a tenth down in Sector 3, and that's what cost him.
Still, I think about it for a P5, he can be proud of that. That's really good, especially knowing how fast some of these guys are. He must be quite fast as well. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, that is very good. And I'm just having a look through the grid there. King starting dead last, maybe on purpose. We don't know. Definitely a surprise. But Thompson, Barnett, Bauer, they've shown some incredible pace. This is going to be a really tight battle, and as I'd hoped, Gareth Walker putting himself into the top 5, nice P4 position for him. Very happy with that.
Absolutely, I can't wait to see how this unfolds because I think the battle at the front especially is going to be so good to watch. And yeah, with Darren King, I don't know. I mean, he's probably going to be driving like a hell of a a drive to get past everyone because he's got the pace. He just needs to show now that he can also overtake, and to do that, he'll have to fight.
Yep, and here we are just looking inside of King's car, just seeing the concentration that he has. Look at that face. That is one
Wow.
stern face.
He's
That-
looking determined.
Yep, that is determined eyes right there. That's what we get. Determined eyes. But right now, drivers are heading up through the formation lap, and honestly, I don't want to jinx this at all, but I think King's going to win this race.
Can you imagine that though? The scenes. Imagine coming from last and actually winning. I think I'm gonna say it's not gonna happen, but it would be incredible to see. I think he's gonna be stuck at like P5, maybe. I do think he's gonna make one amazing drive to get to the front. He's not gonna be there quite yet. That's what I predict.
I don't know. Like I doubted him last week, and he shut me up emphatically. He had an incredible drive in the second race, and obviously the second race is, I don't know. I think he might win.
What do you think would be the top three then? Like Darren King is gonna be first, but there's more drivers. Who do you think is gonna make it far?
I think it's going to be King, Thompson, Barnett.
Good guess. Good guess.
Although the only, right, okay. What I'm thinking is King has deliberately started last because he knows he's good at this track, and with how good and powerful the slipstream is, I think he's going to win this race. I think he's going to utilize the slipstream lap after lap after lap and just take everyone. I think he's got this race.
There's a good comment made in chat though. Not if he can't keep it within the lines.
I
so
think
it's the
this
question.
was on purpose.
We don't know. Maybe it was on purpose. Maybe it was not. Maybe he's actually really good at this track and he feels super confident. Maybe he's actually struggling. Who knows at this point? We can only wait and see, really.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the pace that he was putting down in the free practice and within the qualifying, admittedly the laps were invalid. If in the qualifying, they were not invalid during free practice, which makes me think he is very comfortable at this track and can do it. I think he deliberately invalidated so that he would start last, and then he could basically, because he's miles clear right now, 44 points clear right now in the championship. So yeah, I think this was all a ploy, and he's going to win this race.
We'll see soon, because I think the greens just went. The lights just went green. Good mistake from me there. I guess I'm just too excited. But oh my god, yeah, this is.
King's already made a position. That's all that matters right now. But as we look to the front, nearly a bit of contact there. Pierce had someone nearly touch his back. But this is looking good for the drivers at the front here. If we just take a look through, Thompson's managed to get off well. Barnett's managed to make the jump on Bauer, and Bauer's now sitting there in P3 with Ogden right behind him. Gareth Walker has fallen down the order with Vesemel managing to catch on up. Where exactly? What happened to Gareth Walker? Where did he fall down? He's now... Yeah, he's down the order quite a bit now. I think he's now at the top 10. So he's clearly had some incidents at this start. But can he get his whip back up? Let's have a look.
Gareth is a good driver, but he seems to be getting quite unlucky sometimes. So I don't know what must have happened, but something definitely must have tested his luck. But it looks like actually, and
Barnett's going for the lead, and Pierce is also having to try and make a move. This is what I was saying about this straight. This straight has just got all the action, but Thompson manages to brake later, and Bauer uses that to slip on up the inside of Barnett. That's big collision. Big collision.
Oh god.
That is Vesemel out there, and who has he collected? He's collected quite a few drivers.
Yeah, there were a couple of ones that got caught up in that, unfortunately. I hope they...
It looks like it's been, yeah, let me try and catch everyone who's been caught up in that instance. So Wagner, Vesemil, and I think it was Gareth. I think Gareth was caught in that as well.
Oh
So
no, really?
he is now having from bad to worse for Gareth, unfortunately. But if we take our eyes back towards the front of the grid, we can see that the kind of the top three just now are kind of sitting pretty as they just knock over some cones and make me look like I'm silly. But as Thompson looks like he has building up a little bit of a gap, which is really good for him. Good to see.
Meanwhile, two people in the
Ogden's
pits.
dropped. Yep.
So they must have
Who's
had quite
that?
some damage because of that.
Stokes and Vesemil. Yep. So they
Yeah.
came into the pits.
Yeah.
And I hate to say I told you so, but would you have a little look at where my man King's sitting at?
I was just looking at it, and yeah, that's P12. That's good for him.
And I'll just point out that's lap one. Lap
yeah.
one.
Yeah, these things can happen.
Oh. Kudor's going to the next track over. That was a long way off the track as now comes back on in. But King is getting ready to make a double move as Tudor goes on for the inside. As we take a look up to the front and we see that Bauer is making moves, and he slides on up to the P1. And Thompson's right behind him. Nearly actually breaks a little bit too late and hits the back of them. But this is allowing Barnett to try and make a move up the inside of Thompson. Maybe a little opportunistic. That could compromise him.
Yeah, further back, there's actually, they're just going to the right now into the right-hander, but there was they were side by side, all three cars on the straight. That looks incredible. They kept it clean. That's really good to see.
Yeah, they've done a great job here, and realistically, you know, again, slipstream being what it is, you can kind of approach corners faster than you'd expect as Wright makes a little mistake and that just allows Tudor to come through. Will King be able to make a move up the inside as well? But Wright does manage to hold the line and get back, and now King is blocking off Tudor's road, and that is allowing Wright to kind of level to fight another day. But Tudor's just trying to push King across the track a little bit to try and get some space so he can try and make this move round the outside of Wright. Wright goes defensive already, breaks early, and Tudor looks like he might get it round the outside. King breaks even earlier to try and do the switchback as these two are fighting, but Tudor's sliding off, and that allows King to move up another 2 positions.
Yeah, I was thinking that was incredibly close driving into that corner earlier, and I was honestly very worried for a moment. But yeah, unfortunately one of them spun. What do we have here? It's actually, oh my god, King is up to P9.
Yep, and Wright has just had a little bit of a coming together with the clerk. Not too much in it, and just a little bit of, you know, side touching. Might be classed as a little bit cheeky, but to be honest, Wright looked like he was kind of out of position for it anyway, and de Klerk just tried to make a move up the inside and had a little bit of a touch, but it's fine. But if you just look behind here, look at the speed on this Audi was catching up, and now it seems to have just maxed itself out. But again, there's so much action going on right now. So this is the replay here. We can see, oh yeah, this is from lap 1 with a big collision there with Levchenko. That's heartbreaking to see.
It is. But it looks like still more. Oh, someone's going for a bit of a send. Thankfully he broke in early enough, because that looked a bit scary. I thought he was sending it up the inside. No, he's still behind the yellow car.
Yeah, that's right there, just trying to follow the clerk. But yeah, there's so much action so far in this race. Simon Bauer sets the fastest lap. Ooh, what is going on here with... Yeah, that was a near touch from Wright, but if we look back to the front as well, we do happen to have Barnett kind of closing up to the back of Thompson here. Thompson's made a little bit of a mistake, and can he make the move stick? It looks like he's going to try and go up the inside. Thompson's left the door open for him, but Barnett breaks early. Thompson does take that apex as if Barnett wasn't going to be there anyway. He knew that Barnett had to back out, and he has lost a little bit of time, but Barnett is looking very feisty. He can see the lead slipping away from him as Bauer just gets a little bit too far in front.
Yeah, Bauer seems to be flying, honestly. Like
Yep,
he's
he absolutely
looking
is.
at these guys, like he's not even in the screen with them right now. He's way ahead.
Yep, he is the fastest man on track just now, by 200ths of a second. So, yeah, but here we go. Barnett is now, again, utilising the slipstream and making the move up the inside, easy as you like, and that's him sliding on up into P2. But as I say, he comes in a little bit hot into that corner just because of how much extra speed he had from the slipstream, and he's went so wide off the track now. He's going to be rejoining, but he's going to lose this position back to Thompson, and he goes over that curb there really aggressively, but surely he's going to have to concede this. He can't fight this, and yeah, Thompson does make it back through, but he does maintain P3.
Meanwhile, I believe Wright just made a nice overtake. It was kind of an open door, but he took it, and that was smooth. That was good. But yeah, even there, like this is we're watching P12, P13, these people now, and they're all so close together.
Dan's making a move there up the inside. That was great move there. Just as no, de Klerk's lost 2 positions from that. It just went wide in the penultimate turn, and yeah, allowed 2 cars to go on through. And managing to defend this here, but can he get back onto the back right? There is a gap forming up now, but we'll look back up to the front field now at Barnett. He is back on Thompson's rear end, coming into this final straight, the Mistral straight. There's so much action, so many close racing. We've got 3 behind as well, Ogden, Pierce and Softic all together. Softic's going to get a beautiful slipstream. He'll be able to take Pierce potentially, but Pierce does stay in Ogden's slipstream. That's going to allow him to kind of keep up with that Aston Martin. What is going to happen here? It's looking so close between these guys.
Yeah, Ogden has got
a camera
defend. That looks so good. Yeah, Ogden's got to defend, because otherwise, yeah, he could lose potentially 2 positions.
Well,
ooh,
a little
that was a
snap there
wobble.
from Softic, but Ogden manages to hold on to position. But will Pierce manage to make the move again on Softic? No, it doesn't look like it. But Softic's just wrestling with his car, trying to get it back under his control. It's just not happening for him, as these 2 fall slightly further behind from Ogden.
Yeah, where's Barnett actually? He's only 12 thousandths of a second behind Thompson. He must be so close.
Yep, he is so close, but unfortunately there's not really much room to overtake in this sector. But
yeah,
it looks like he's trying to go for the switchback here up the final corner. Thompson's wise to it though, and he kind of slows down a lot in the apex, forcing Barnett to hit the brake a little bit more than he wanted to, and Thompson's acceleration out of that corner is going to let him get out. But let's have a look. Levchenko can see these 2 fighting. He's just wanting to get involved. But Barnett, is he going to make the dive? No, he thinks better of it. He's sticking behind. He knows that the Mistral straight's only a few corners away. If he can stay this close when he gets to the straight, he should be able to make the move stick.
Meanwhile, I saw that Darren King actually just set the fastest lap time of the race. I believe it was a 1:54.6 that I saw.
Yep. And do you want to know how much faster that is than our P1?
Tell me.
7 tenths.
Oh my. Oh wow.
He is hunting, but he's now stuck on the back of this train. This train goes pretty much all the way up to P2, and he needs to get through this quick. But right now he's got Pierce on him, but we'll go right back up for Barnett. Barnett is now moved out of the slipstream, trying to make the moves out on Thompson. Thompson's went in for the inside line into this corner. All he needs to do is brake a little bit later than Barnett, and he should be able to hold it. But that overspeed that Barnett's got right now, will he be out in front by the time to get time to the braking zone? But he can't hold it. He can't hold it. He's going wide again. This is what happened to him last time. Can he withhold it into this corner, or is he going to fall back once more? Oh, he's trying to make the move on the inside here, but it's such a tight line. He had to put the brakes on again just to stop himself from sliding out into Thompson's car, and that's unfortunate. But Thompson's making that car very, very wide. But you know what? Here comes Levchenko as well. He is right behind, waiting for these 2 in front of him to make a mistake. Ogden, he's got a little bit of a gap to Ogden. That will give him some comfort. But Barnett Barnett is just hassling Thompson left and right, and he's forced him into a mistake here. But what can he do? Because he went on the outside line, and Thompson's just going to cut across him, and Levchenko's now right on his gearbox.
It's so great to see though, like these 7 cars really, because like I feel like I think it's Ogden who's also caught up. Well, he's pretty much caught up to Thompson, Barnett, and Levchenko as well, along with the 3 cars behind him. Oh, that's.
Barnett
Oh
and
no, there was a
Levchenko had a
little bit
little
of a
love
touch.
tap. Yep, Barnett's dropping back now as Levchenko's managed to get around him, and Ogden's now just doing the same. Will he manage to fight this back? It doesn't look like he can. Ogden's got the inside line, and he manages to take this off him. But if we have a look behind, King is now immediately behind Barnett. King went from last up to currently P6.
Ah, this man is an alien.
This is madness.
This is unbelievable. That is so cool to see, you know? That's awesome. I can't wait to see if he manages to actually catch up to P1.
I mean,
I
P1,
know, actually.
he does have a fair gap to P1, but, you know, realistically speaking, lapping the way he's lapping, once he gets clear of these guys, if he can indeed get clear of these guys, he should be able to catch. But, you know, as what we were saying before, it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass. He's making Barnett go defensive, and King's like, okay, if you want to go on the inside, I'll go on the outside. He's just trying to hold it and stick it, and now just sliding on back into position. That outside line didn't work, but what can he do? Can he get the inside line? Nope, Barnett's going to protect it, so he'll go outside again. He's just putting Barnett in an uncomfortable position, because Barnett's also trying to make a move on Ogden, but right now he's having to look in his mirrors. He cannot try and fight Ogden while King is hassling him this hard. This is incredible. Yeah. Barnett's got nowhere to go.
He's incredibly feisty apparently, because he's just... Oh, he actually went for it there on the inside. Will he... Oh, but he's not quite as fast. He has to go back behind him again. But, you know, what was that? No, I'm getting confused. No, that
to be
was,
honest, this has actually worked out really well for King. I don't think he really wanted to make the move stick there. I think he just wanted to get a little bit of a gap between Barnett and Ogden so that he had some space that he could put his car into. Which, again, really smart if that's what he's done. But what he needs to do is make sure that he's nice and on the rear of Barnett coming into the Mistral straight, and that there's a bit of a gap between him and Ogden, which currently there is. This is perfect for King. He should be able to try and make a move on the Mistral straight through Barnett, but because this train is so large, every single person's getting slipstream, so Barnett's going to be moving faster just because of that. King's going to be getting a nice super slipstream, but he needs to try and make his move at the right time.
Yeah, so far it still looks like Bauer is just running away from them, because I swear that gap keeps increasing. So even with the slipstream everyone has on each other, the battling is still slowing them down. So it would be good.
Ogden managed to make a move on Levchenko by the looks of things. He's trying to go round the outside. Levchenko's broke nice and early. Ogden does keep it on the track, but Levchenko's managed to keep the pace and stay out in front. But what this is allowing is Barnett to try and make the move, and what that means is King's right behind. So all this fighting's just allowed King to slip through, and now he looks like he has definitely going to be gaining a position on Ogden, as Ogden's struggling with the car right now, but he just manages to hold it. Oh, that was very close. Ogden could have lost another position, but he is going to have to be side by side and keep this fight going so he can try and claim the inside for this turn, but he's just too far behind and potentially going to be losing out and move to Softic as well.
This is honestly better than I was hoping for. This is so much fun. Oh,
yep.
There you go.
King
Train.
now up to P5. What a drive from King.
Yeah,
This is
unbelievable.
Insane. But Softic here, he's getting Pierce to making a move up his inside. What a dive bomb there. That was great. Pierce just within the limits. Oh, and there's a little bit of a touch. But both the drivers managed to keep it pointing in the right direction, and Scholes is so far behind that he won't be able to make any difference on these guys. So Softic just having to sit in back. But Pierce has made a mistake and he slid off. This is
Oh no.
a disaster
That's so
there.
bad for Pierce. No.
He's not going to lose another position, but he will now need to catch back up to this train. But King and Barnett going at it again down the straight. Levchenko went a little bit wide. This is another big slipstream for these lads. And you know, right now, Barnett's success moving forward is also King's success because he's managed to follow him through. So if he can't quite get past Barnett yet, just wait until Barnett doesn't have any slipstream after he gets through everybody. But he needs to just keep making moves. So Levchenko, oh, it looks like Barnett had to run and decided not to go for it, which is kind of smart, to be honest. But that meant that King's had to back out of it, and he's just went, oh, hit the curb a little much, and nearly spun out of the car, but managed to catch it again. This is great racing from these guys, but we see that we've got a 5-second penalty there for causing a collision for parties.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, if I was Bauer right now, I would be so happy. Like was said in chat just now, like Bauer must be so pleased with all this battling, because it really is just a train far behind him, and because they're all, realistically, because they're able to keep up with each other, they're all, oh, that's a bit of a wobble from Barnett. Thankfully kept it straight. But yeah, because they're all pulling each other forwards, they keep battling, and it's not, it's just, Bauer is so lucky because he doesn't have that issue right now. And oh my god, I think King is going for it. Yeah, he's through.
Yep.
He made that look really easy.
Now, just for information, King currently P4. He is roughly about 11-12 seconds off of P1. However, we've seen that in clear air he can go 7/10 a lap faster than Bauer could. So, if he can get past Levchenko and Thompson, he will have 12-ish seconds to move forward, get up the grid, and just do that 7/10 at a time, 7/10 at a time. Potentially a race win from P20 on the grid. What?
You know what? I'm starting to believe. I want to see this happen now. That would be unbelievable.
You should always believe. I told you to believe. This is where you listen to me. I am wise as I am pretty.
I mean, you don't have to go that far, but that was some.
King on a move, making a move on Levchenko. There was a little bit of the rear end step in, and King's just decided that's enough of an invite. That's all I need. I'm coming round the outside. I'll take the inside for the next corner. Levchenko is going to have to try and stick out. There's a little bit of a touch, and Levchenko goes a little bit wide. There's not really much in that contact there. There wasn't much room. I don't think that anyone will be in trouble for that. But now we've got King hunting down Thompson, and you can just see he's already closing that gap down. This is remarkable as Levchenko just outbreaks himself, tries to make a move stick, but unfortunately can't, and that's going to cost him. Here comes Barnett. Barnett's wanting to get back on this podium. Levchenko looks like he's got a slightly better run, and he's getting the slipstream off of the back of King. Can he manage to hold out in front? And he does. He nearly lost the position from getting a little bit overzealous, but Barnett could not capitalise. And if we just have a look now at the gap, we have, King 11 seconds off of the lead. This is going to be close if he can get out in front. But I'm kind of excited to see it. But let's just have a look through the rest of the field just now while we're waiting. Actually, never mind. I was saying why we're waiting for King to make a move, but it looks like he's potentially going to go for it straight away. He's already caught up to the back of Thompson. This is some incredible drive he's got in this Ferrari right now.
I do wonder though.
Trying to get...
I do wonder. Has he got any track warnings? Can we see that?
I unfortunately do not know, but what is more important is that he does have track position. He has made the move on Thompson, moving himself into P2 from last. I repeat, from last position. He has managed to get up to second. What a drive. And realistically speaking, it's not 10.5 seconds. That's not that far up the road when you're as quick as King.
That is true. And even if he does have track warnings, I think actually, he's not gonna be in trouble. I think like once he's past these guys, and once he gets more like he's fast enough to probably just take it easy. So once he's through, he'll probably do just that.
Yep. Now if we just have a look here, Barnett just in the back of Levchenko. Levchenko has made sure that his car was nice and wide last lap, but there we go, that's the fastest lap there. Darren King, take a bow. You are absolutely flying. He is 9/10ths faster than our race leader Bauer.
That is absolutely crazy.
Having a look through as well, we've got some moves happening at the back for... Oh, no, it's just back markers getting out of the way. That's fine. Probably exactly what they needed to do. But yeah, so now if we have a look down this this Mistral straight, we've got Thompson being hounded by Levchenko. We've got King already checking out in the distance, and Bauer now just almost at the end of the straight, but King can see his prey.
Yeah, I just saw in chat actually from Cam that King is currently on 3 warnings, so that might spice things up a little bit.
Yep, and Levchenko here is managing to make a move on Thompson. He tried to go in, but Thompson's front wheel was there, and that's just scared Levchenko off the road. And yeah, you could argue that Thompson probably should have backed out there, because there was, you know, he pretty much had to get it in the braking zone. That's something that we would leave to the stewards though. But Levchenko pretty much just got scared out the road, and Thompson's managed to take that position back. So King on
like
3 warnings. That is
that is something.
that's close. That is
Yes.
very close to being very, very problematic for him. However, does he have the pace while still reining it in a little bit? How much of that was potentially due to like wheel-to-wheel combat? Now that he's in clear air, is he still going to make those mistakes? That's what we need to see. That's what we need to find out. But what
Yeah,
a drive
so I-
so far.
I said earlier that, you know, if I was Bauer, I'd be pretty happy. Right now, if I was Bauer, I'd be not so happy anymore, because, yeah, that's gonna be scary for him. He really needs to push, but at the same time, obviously, he needs to keep it, you know, within the track limits, like, at the edge, because he knows Darren's got, well, I don't know if Bauer knows that Darren's got some warnings, but, you know, if he, oh, wow, that's actually, Octane is going past Barnett. That is good for him.
Barnett made like a very late braking move and nearly ran into the back of Levchenko, and that was enough. Just knocked him out of position a little bit, and that's allowed Ogden to just be like, thank you very much, I'll take that position. However, slipstream being as strong as it is, Barnett is sitting here looking like he can make a move stick, but as soon as he moves out of that slipstream, he's getting none, and Ogden's still getting plenty from the drivers in front.
Like Levchenko got a bit far to the right. That was not the ideal line to take. Oh, and that was
and I
actually
think he
quite
probably would have got
close.
a warning for that as well. But now
Yeah.
Ogden's trying to make a move up the inside. Levchenko, there's probably not much you could do about this. This is kind of similar to the position he was in when King went past, and Ogden managed to even get the move done before this turn. So well done there from Ogden, and he's now right on the back of Thompson. So, yep, the McLarens there are looking pretty good for this race.
Now, I've just seen something in chat that Bauer is on 2 warnings as well.
Yep, so realistically though, what Bauer needs to focus on is just doing his own laps, clean as you can like, and then when King rocks up, let's be honest, not if King rocks up, when King rocks up, fight him hard, make him go off, get him a warning, and then there you go, you've won the race. If you can get him to get another warning for track limits, you know, if you could fight him hard, that might be enough to win the race. But we're just having a look. Thompson, Barnett, and Pierce all into the pits.
Yeah, but the fighting hard though, like it can be difficult sometimes. Like how hard can you defend and battle someone, because obviously you got to keep it clean.
Car 267, which is Fredrickson, has just got a drive-through penalty.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's the first of many, perhaps.
Well, Well, there's still 33 minutes of the race to go, so we'll find out. There's still plenty of time for people to get drive-throughs. So for their sake, but they won't.
As we just had on the screen there, a little pop-up. Nathan Pierce on his debut. You can see him down in P16 just now. He has had he's had a fair few fights, and it has knocked him down currently. P16. He was kind of racing up with Softic earlier in the race. He's also had his pit stop though, which could play into his hands. You know, we'll see. We'll see how much he'll gain or how much he'll lose based on this early pit. But yeah, if what we've just got to take into consideration as well is this is an hour-long race, and it's, you know, this track, because it's a test track, it's kind of designed to have many different layouts, and it's not really particularly well designed in terms of racing, in my opinion. So there are lots of runoff areas, there's lots of things where you like get go too wide, and we can just see Nathan Pierce on his debut getting a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So rookie error, but
Yeah,
it's something that quite a lot of people will do. It's again, because as I was saying, this track's not really designed for racing; it's designed for testing cars. So there are certain things in terms of the way the track's done and the layout and the markings and things, which, because it's just all runoff, you take more risks, you try and get more lap time into it, and that's what allows you to make these mistakes. As we see another, is that a different penalty coming through, or is that nope, never mind, that's just a 10-second penalty for Pierce. Saw the pop-up and I thought that we were getting something else. But yeah, because of the way it's designed, it allows you to make mistakes because it's supposed to be for testing. But that means as a driver, you're always going to try and take it to the limit, which is why you get these mistakes creeping in, and then the penalties come in.
Yeah, it's definitely a track that, you know, there's a lot of space everywhere, but there are these track limits, and you really gotta watch for them. Just looking at Bauer, just driving all by himself.
Yeah.
It must be a bit of a lonely race for him.
Yeah, for the moment, although not for much longer.
True.
But I was just about to draw your attention to something, but Ogden's ruined it by coming into the pits. I was about to say the gap that King has pulled out from Ogden was 6 seconds. Now, remember, he was fighting Ogden a couple of laps ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's quite the gap to pull out over just a few laps.
It is. It really is.
Yep. And we see that Ogden, Levchenko and Softic all in the pits just now as well, getting their extra fuel, swapping tyres, doing all the good things, chatting up their engineer, you know, telling him he looks pretty today.
That's always a good thing to do. Definitely.
I mean, to be
Don't
fair,
forget that.
have you seen Softic's engineer?
Oh yeah.
That man knows how to use a wheel gun.
It looks like because obviously right now Schultz hasn't pitted yet, but he's as well like 15 seconds behind King. That's just yeah.
But you know, once all the pit stops have been done, it'd be interesting to see where he kind of feeds back in, because he is, as you say, he's kind of there or thereabouts. Gareth Walker had a fair few issues at the start of the race, kind of cost him a lot of time, and he is unfortunately on the complete opposite side of the track from our P1 Bauer, and he was up there with Bauer at the start of this race. Remember, Gareth started in P4, so unfortunate for him to be kind of, you know, 35-ish seconds off the lead, but hopefully he can come back and still get some good points.
Yeah, of course. It's always so difficult when people are still got a pit, because they're not in the. You can't tell much about their positions. I always feel, at least. Because obviously when people are pitting, you know, things can change and people can get stuck behind back markers, for example, and lose time because of that. So, yeah.
Yep, but that's what separates the good drivers from the great drivers, just how fast you can get through the pack. As King has shown today, he's a great driver. You know, he's had so many battles and so many people he had to pick off and get through, and honestly, didn't particularly lose too much time while he was doing it. So it's been an incredible drive from him so far, and he can be incredibly happy with a podium. However, I don't think he'll settle for just being P2. I think he is hunting
No.
down this P1, and honestly, I can't see any way that Bauer can stop him. Like, the pace difference right now is phenomenal. It's now, based on the last lap, was 8/10. It's just consistently so much faster.
Yeah, it's... Oh, it looks like Schultz has pitted now as well. She's coming out of the
Yep.
pit.
Just came out behind Pierce, and as we say, Pierce has been having a fairly good race. He made a slight mistake with his battle with Softic, and then he's made another mistake coming into the pits, giving himself a 10-second penalty, which, for those of you who are new to racing, speeding in the pits is, in real life, a big no-no for safety. So it gets mimicked online, even though it's mostly, you would only gain maybe, you know, half a second or something for doing it. But again, because this is mimicking racing, we want to make sure we mimic the safety of these virtual people, as Levchenko is trying to make a move on Schultz now. And to be honest, I think right now the pace difference that he's got, he should be able to make it stick. But Schultz does have the right to defend this. He can try and brake late into the hard braking zone here, but it looks like he's not going to do it. Levchenko stays on the outside, leaves him room on the apex, and makes it stick, and that's him back up another position.
Well done from him. Taking from the outside through a corner, that is well done.
Yep, but we now have a new race leader.
Yeah, Bauer is in the pit.
Yep, Bauer is in the pits. That's him just coming out now. So let's see. He looks like he is going to definitely get out in front of this pack that's from Thompson by a long way. He should get plenty. Yeah, they're so far back still. So the work he done in that first stint has still paid dividends, because everyone that's chasing him right now is still miles off. But what we do have now is an enormous gap for King. He clearly can come in and slot in perfectly within that gap between Thompson and between Bauer, but it really will depend now. Does he want to extend this stint at all? Has he got the fuel to do so? He has been putting some incredible pace, and that is a drive-through for speeding into the pit lanes, and King is coming into the pits.
Darren, is that really for... That's for track limits, isn't it? Because he's only just gone into the pits, so why...
He has got a drive-through, but I think we've got a different drive-through for... Yep, it was car 14 de Klerk. Got a drive-through for speeding into the pits. King has gotten a drive-through for track limits. And so that has ruined his race. I don't think now there's any way that he can win.
This could absolutely change things, because that is a lot of time loss.
And he's just been given a stop-go penalty.
Oh no!
Yep, I think he's sped into the pits to serve his drive-through. So what's went to be a very, very comfortable podium and probable race win to probably being outside the top 10. Because remember, he still has to pit.
Yep.
So, oh wait, that second penalty has been cleared by the stewards.
But yeah, he's probably gonna get a 10-second time penalty, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like a 10 seconds just been added to him. So, okay, that's a far, far, far more generous penalty than a 30-second stop-go penalty. That would have dropped him right out of the pit, right out of the
Yeah.
order. There's no way that he would have done anything there. But you know, it was called before during qualifying that it was likely that he would make mistakes and get a penalty, and that's exactly what's happened. And it's a shame for him, but he really kind of only has himself to blame there,
Oh,
especially after getting the drive-through and then making the pit entry mistake. So, yeah.
what if he doesn't win? Will you then eat your words?
Well, he won't win now. Like after the
But
drive,
what?
he still needs to pit. He's like
True.
he
True.
still has
True.
to pit. So not only would he have to pit, lose 10 seconds in the pits, and then catch the pack again, overtake the pack, and then catch Bauer. It's not going to happen. Not in the 20 minutes that we've got left. That's
You know
no
what?
way.
I wonder if my prediction is going to come right, because I said he was going to beat P5. That might be more realistic.
That could happen. That potentially
We'll
could
see.
happen. But here we see Barnett having a little bit of an argy-bargy here. He's trying to make the move on Ogden, going up the inside. It's just not able to get the traction out, and Ogden manages to hold on once again. This battle between these guys has been going on for a while, and honestly, it seems that Barnett, every time he's been in kind of like wheel-to-wheel combat today, he's just struggling with it. He's just not been
King
able to
is in a
get his
pit.
car positioned. Yep,
King is in a
this
pit.
is him actually getting his pit stop done.
Yes.
Finally, but as we say, he's going to drop so far back now. That he's effectively had an extra pit stop plus 10 seconds on top for these guys around him. So, yeah, he will be feeling that. That's again, I still don't know if that was his decision or not to deliberately start last, but it's now looking like a bad one.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right, now
Can't
let's
wait to
see where
see.
he comes out.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be the most interesting thing right now. How much time he has really lost.
It looks like he might come out in P11.
Oh, there's got quite another recovery drive to do.
Yeah. Unless P9 currently, unless I've made a mistake somewhere. No, it's definitely in P11 or P12. We'll find out. But right now, let's go back to the action. Barnett again coming down on this Mistral straight, trying to catch up to the back of Ogden, and I don't know what's happening, but it looks like King's just had another 10 seconds added to him. Oh, he just served the 10 seconds. Oh, he's been caught speeding again.
No, did he really? Oh my god.
I would like confirmation, Cam, if you can let me know in the chat, please. Was that a secondary speeding in the pit lane?
That would be.
This is heartbreaking.
Yeah. He's not having a good evening, is he?
Nope. But if we can get confirmation from our steward, Cam, that would be ideal. But
Indeed.
yeah, that's oh, Tim is letting us know that he apparently doesn't have the speed limiter button mapped, which, yep, that'll do it. That will cause you pain.
That would be a big mistake, because you do definitely want to have that mapped.
Yeah. Raven Duck, can you please let us know if that was the second 10-second penalty?
I would assume that it is, but
Someone needs to confirm for me.
please.
We need to know if he can. We need to know if he's going to finish in P5 or not. Yeah, let's have a look through the rest of this field. We've got Tudor now on the right back of King. I don't think he's going to catch him or anything, but King currently sitting in P10. Potentially with another 10 seconds. We're still waiting on confirmation. But this, as Frank has very aptly put it, has blown the championship over. He currently has a 44-point lead. He is now struggling to get any decent points in this race as Fredriksson just goes wide, and that allows King to come through. Fredriksson was a back marker anyway, but it still helps getting cars out the way for you. That's
It is ideal when back markers to get out of the way, yes.
Yep. It's just allowing King to kind of focus on his own race, try and calm down, because he realises he's thrown this in the bin himself. Like, this is entirely his own fault. And yeah, it's just kind of heartbreaking. Well, let's have a look round and see what else is happening on the track. Barnett's still sitting on the back of Ogden, not able to really make much of a move. And just no one else on track seems to be particularly close. Penalties is on the back of Williams, but it doesn't. It looks like he potentially lifted here on the Mistral Straight. No, maybe it was just a little bit of lag. But he is managing to make moves. Stick Penalties is getting past Williams, but we'll have a look now back to Barnett. Still just he's there. He's just not there, and it's. You know, he just doesn't seem to be getting the pace in the right areas of the track. Ogden's just making it. He's managing to hold that momentum a little bit better. Barnett seems to be a little bit more point and squirt on his throttle, which is just not allowing him to catch up in the areas that actually matter. So right now, he should have the slipstream. He should have a nice easy time catching up to the back. But when it gets into the braking zone, he's just not got enough room to actually make it stick.
Yeah, it looks like pretty much everywhere on the circuit now, people are just close, but not close enough. You know, like there could be opportunities, but it's like people behind another person need to now wait for the other person to make a mistake, because the train is gone. Like, there's no one train anymore that pulls everyone along, that causes endless battles. That is gone now because of the pitting. So it's interesting to see everywhere on the circuit, really, how, well, most places. Oh, I think Barnett is still too far away.
Yep, but he did get a nice run out of this corner, but unfortunately he's done it again. Part of the track, he can't really make a move stick, and now he's just kind of he straightened up his braking zone there because he thought he was going to run into the back of Ogden, and that's just again put him out of position when you could potentially make a move into turn one, but he's now just too far off it. He's just, I think he's getting a little bit too aggressive on his pedals, and it's just not allowing him to kind of stick close to Ogden where it matters. He seems to have the pace, just kind of not in the right areas.
So I'm just thinking about Bauer again in P1. So at first I thought he was going to be happy, then I thought he was going to be stressed. He must be so pleased again now. Just to be cruising there on his own, enjoying the race, enjoying the driving, I should say, just lapping, really. And oh, Darren King has, however, set a new fastest lap. So King has not given up yet. That is fun to see, though. Just as I was talking about Bauer too, that is fun.
He is currently 1.3 seconds a lap faster than Walker in front of him.
Oh wow.
So, yep, Gareth, I hate to tell you this, but your teammate is going to be sniffing your booty in about 3 laps' time.
Yeah, that sounds like the likely thing to happen.
Yeah. That's that's something he's going to have to be aware of. But I mean, as we touch back on Bauer, he himself was on a couple of warnings, so it's not all over for him yet. He's got 15 minutes of this race left where he can make no mistakes. Admittedly, he's not currently being pressured, but he still needs to make sure that he is keeping it clean, not doing anything untoward, as Schultz has been given a drive-through penalty as well, so he'll need to come in and serve that.
I do think, though, that well, actually, there's a battle going on right here with the clerk. I think he's just got Williams.
Yep, it looks like he has just got Williams, and Wagner looks like he's wanting to make a move on Williams as well. I think currently Williams is lapping incredibly slowly. I don't know if he's got damage or anything, but he does seem to be a good kind of 2 seconds off the pace. So of the guys around him, Wagner should be able to make this move stick at the end of the Mistral Straight, and he's going up the inside. Williams is just kind of moving over, letting Wagner take the inside, not really trying to fight it, and he's through.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm sure you could have tried maybe a bit harder and you could have had a good battle, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can get some information on. Yep, I do not, unfortunately. Drive-through cleared for race car number 43 was shown, so I imagine he has just came out of this. Yes, he has.
Ogden is
Here we go.
getting
Ogden.
very close.
Barnett clearly made the move on Ogden, who missed that, but
Yeah.
again, he's done it at a part of the track which has just allowed Ogden to slide on past again. So Barnett just does not seem to have any straight line speed in that car, and like out of all the acceleration zones, Ogden seems to get a little bit away, and it seems to be the slipstream that's allowing Barnett to stay close. As soon as it was the roles were reversed and Ogden was behind, the slipstream just allowed him to cruise on past.
Yeah. It looks like these guys are going to be fighting for the rest of this race. Just trying to get closer, closer, overtaking, and then trying not to lose it again on the same on the straight again. Yeah, Barnett's quite a challenge for himself here.
Yep, but he's managed to stay a little bit closer out of this turn one, out of the final turn even, than he used to. But yep, that's not enough. He's just not getting the traction zone right, and that's just allowing Ogden to just get a little bit of an advantage. Just having a look again through the field, can't really see anyone else able to make a move. De Klerk's trying to make a move on Parties, but he's a bit too far back this lap. He might come back to that in a few laps' time. But Barnett, this is the area he needs to get this bit right as he's coming onto the Mistral straight. But unfortunately, again, he's just back end steps a little bit. Ogden manages to get a little bit of a gap. He is closer than he was being on previous laps, so can he utilise this? Make that slipstream count. He's gaining and gaining and gaining, but Ogden just seems to have a much better straight line speed than Barnett does. Even in the slipstream, he's not really gaining as much as you would hope.
I'm just loving these pop-ups sometimes of the fastest lap because Darren King just said another fastest lap. But oh my, that was quite a move to defend there from Ogden.
Yeah, it was totally fair. He made the move just before Barnett went to make his move as well. So he was just moving back over to the racing line. It wasn't like a very late call in defence. But Barnett did have to tap on the brakes there to, stop a collision. But again, it's just Barnett it was a little bit risky, but at the same time, completely fair. I think Barnett he does not have the top line speed that he needs to get past that McLaren.
Yeah, it looks that way.
We're having a look. I'm just jumping back between parties, and it looks like he has been passed by De Klerk. I completely missed that, but yep. I think he might have had an off, to be honest. He's dropped down a fair bit. He's dropped back to Williams again as well, so good to know. Barnett there seems to be the only person on track that's kind of close, other than what we called a few laps ago. King has caught up to the back of his teammate Gareth Walker, and there is no way, as we look at the damage that's been caused by these cars, monsters that they are. Look at this. Stay on the track, guys. Stop hitting the debris.
Can you imagine being so horrible that when you're racing, you're actually hitting like little signs? Those poor signs. Oh,
shocking.
I know.
But yeah, there's King right on the gearbox of Gareth Walker here coming into the Mistral straight. Honestly, there is no way that Gareth can defend this. He's tried and he's actually run wide, and King gets past before the straight even starts. So, yep, unfortunate for Gareth, but to be honest, there was no fight in that anyway. King's just so quick right now. And we just look at this Barnett battle, trying to see if he can actually ever find a way back onto the podium.
Yeah, because it is, they are fighting for P3, you know, if you always, you know, P3 is not a win, but at least it's a podium. So I can imagine he must be sweating right now.
Oh, absolutely. He'll be needing this. Like, you know, drivers are competitive beasts, and as soon as there's any silverware dangling in front of your nose, you're going to give it everything to get it. Third place or no, he will want to move forward in this race. But
Oh yeah.
you know, there's a big gap to P2 and a bigger gap to P1, so this is probably all he'll be able to settle for with the time that's remaining in the race. But you never know. A safety car could bunch everyone back up. You just have to kind of wait and see. But
Well, let's hope for everyone's sake that there will not be a safety car, that everyone keeps it clean and nice and good, because there's 8 minutes left, and it's been
I
a
don't know.
fantastic race.
I would love to see the WACA, although I don't actually see it in the field right now, so I don't even know if we can get a proper safety car, because we don't have the car today. So
I was very confused for a moment when you called it the WAG car, and then I remembered it was even
Ah.
my thing. I came up with that.
I will give you no credit.
No, it
Not
was me in chat.
I know, but I will give you no credit until you say it correctly.
The WAG car.
That was terrible. I'm
No,
sorry,
oh,
chat.
come on, that was good.
You had to experience this. Yep.
Oh, you're so
That's it.
mean.
Your wages for today have been revoked.
The safety car is undergoing maintenance. Well.
Well, I hope that's not color change maintenance, because then we'll have to find a new name.
Oh, I would be sad.
Yep. I'm not. I didn't make a fool of myself all that first race for it to come to this. Levchenko's here. He's actually caught up to the back of Pierce now. But Pierce with that 10-second penalty, this really isn't going to matter if Levchenko actually makes the move stick. But it is there, and we've got Parties getting another penalty, a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. But yeah, Levchenko's caught up to the back of Pierce here, and he will want to make the move on track. But realistically speaking, he doesn't need to. The likelihood that he's going to catch up the 7 odd seconds to Softic, probably not going to happen in 6 minutes. So this P6 is probably the best that he can get anyway. But as a driver, you always want to make it stick on track. You always want to go for it. So, you know, have at it. Show us what you've got, Levchenko.
I have some good news for you.
Yes.
The WAG car will not change its paint.
Good.
Yes.
How did you find that out?
The race control.
Ah.
Yes.
I've too many things open. I don't even have race control on screens. But yes, that is good news. And let's have a look. So we've got Levchenko on Pierce. It's getting closer and closer and closer. Is he going to make a dive bomb? Nope, he sticks there. Probably wise for this lap. Just no point in needlessly throwing away your race. But Pierce makes a little bit of a mistake. I thought Levchenko was going to try and dive up the inside there. Just doesn't manage it. Drive through for track limits. Can you guess what car that's for?
Say that again.
Yep, okay. Fredrickson, drive through for track limit. Never mind. You missed your opportunity. But we've also got, I think it was the same, another drive through for track limits for de Klerk. So both of them are having some adventures.
Oh, indeed.
But yeah, Levchenko's right on the back of Pierce here. Honestly, I think if Levchenko just keeps it patient, he should be able to get this done in the Mistral Straight. Pierce is already trying to go defensive there. That's quite interesting. He's kind of sticking towards the middle of the track. I kind of don't think that's required with the big gap that he had really to Levchenko there coming out the final turn. Just kind of cost him a little bit of time. And yeah, I think Levchenko's got this. He just needs to stick where he is, and going into down the Mistral Straight, he should make it stick. But he's just, yeah, Pierce has just held his momentum a lot better than Levchenko there. and a good traction zone there for Levchenko. Allows him to catch back up a little bit, but here we go. This is where it matters. Sticking nice and close, keep there in the slipstream, all the way down this very, 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 very long straight.
It really is.
If only there were other turns that we could potentially have down this straight, like to the left maybe, right there.
Yeah, well, unfortunate. Although I think it's probably better this way. Oh, and he's going for the
Good
move.
That was perfectly timed.
Yes.
That was nearly a bump draft there, but that was
That was really
yep,
good.
very good move. He's made it stick, and he's miles clear just straight away. So Levchenko now has gained P6 on track. Does not need to care about Pierce's penalty at all. Again, probably too much of a gap to Softic, but you always want to make the move stick on track.
Absolutely. It feels nice when you do that. When you actually get to overtake someone, it's just nice. Like obviously position's good, but everyone that races because they love the battling. They love racing with everyone else, and battles are obviously the greatest part about that.
Yeah, I'm just having a look back here at Barnett and Ogden. There's actually quite a gap that's formed. I don't know if Barnett's maybe made a mistake, but that's a lot bigger of a gap than it's been in the recent times.
Maybe it was just a little mistake, but it's still not dramatic. I think on the straight he will still be able to get quite a good slipstream from it and make his way back closer to Ogden. Although obviously, though, there is not much time left. There's only 2 more minutes left of this race. So Barnett's time is ticking when it comes to overtaking Ogden.
Yep, he's not got much time to do it, but to be honest, I don't think he can. The slipstream's not been working for him, as we just see Pierce here trying to make a move stick on Levchenko again, which he's managed to do. He's got round Levchenko and kind of left him for dust there. So Pierce, despite that 10-second penalty, he is wanting to fight.
He's not giving up quite yet. It looks like they're actually going side by side right now into the corner, and it looks like Levchenko might still be ahead.
Levchenko's managed to get it. He's ahead. A drive-through penalty again for de Klerk. What's happened there?
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, with only 1 lap to go, like it's not going to make much difference to him.
Alright, man. The leader is on the final
Leader
lap.
on the final lap as Bauer just moves into this final lap with a fairly large gap of 7.4 seconds to Thompson behind. So Bauer's got this in the bags just so long as he keeps it clean, keeps it under control, no more track limits, and this should be his race to win.
Absolutely, he just needs to make it to the finish line right now. He can probably even take it easy. You know, he's not really under any stress. Like that gap between him and Thompson in P2, that's really good. That's very well done.
Yep.
If he wins this race like this, then he can definitely be proud of himself. Even though he's not had much chance to battle, I hope he will have enjoyed it.
Yeah. Ogden, though, I don't know what's happened there, but Barnett's just managed to gain about 4/10 on him on like 2 corners. So that has... Is he going to make the stick on the final lap? Barnett is absolutely throwing down the pace right now. Can he make this work? We've seen that the slipstream does not seem to work in his car, whether it's the way he's got the setup or if it's just that the McLaren is just that much faster than the Lamborghini down the straight. But again, he's not making the gains. Like, he's in the slipstream, he got a really good run out of that final turn before the straight. But at the end of the straight, he's still exactly where he was. He cannot make the gains. And it just seems that the McLaren is far better down that straight than the Lamborghini is.
Yeah, it's gonna suck for him if he doesn't get the podium. But you know, good news for Ogden. They've both done incredibly well. Yeah, Bauer is actually very close right now to the finish line, just the last corner, and then he will have done it. He will absolutely have done a pretty much
drive through
flawless
for track limits. No, not really.
What?
No, Bauer does not get a drive through. He comes through, wins the race, and to be honest, it's been a very comfortable race. He managed to build up that gap from like lap 2, lap 3, and no one other than King seemed to even get close, but King not able to keep it clean, and so Thompson managed to come home in second place with Ogden keeping that place off of Barnett. So well done to those guys, and realistically, this was a race that King threw away.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a lot of potential in this race, even coming from last, which is just bizarre to think about. But you know, P8, it could have been so much better. And yeah, he
P9,
did kind of.
because
Oh
Gareth
yeah,
stays
P9,
within
of
that 10
course.
seconds.
Oh right, of course.
So
Yes.
Gareth, well done. That is a very good P8 for you. King
Yeah,
drops down a
great to see.
position. But yeah, what could have been as Tudor comes across the line in P10. King, though, as we said, I still believe he would have won if he could keep it clean. And this is something that we always see, especially in online racing, where the consistent drivers really, they might not necessarily be the fastest drivers, but they make up every time the fast drivers make a mistake. The consistent drivers are the one that are gaining points all the time. Whereas Kings went from winning both races last week to being P8. That's
Yeah.
an enormous shift.
Meanwhile,
And
sorry, I believe Wagoner is the last one on the track that's still driving. He's just finishing his race now. And that is everyone across the finish line, except for Declare, who was in the pit.
yep. But yeah, that's what a race! What a race that was.
That was amazing. I really, really enjoyed that. That was so good.
Yep, that was exactly what you like to see. There was lots of action everywhere, and yeah, we really didn't know what was going to happen with such a good comeback coming from King. So yeah, we happened to get the results in for sure. We've got Bauer finishing that P1. Then we've got the two McLarens with Thompson and Ogden. We've got Barnett in P4, Softic P5, Levchenko P6, Pierce P7, with Gareth getting P8, King P9, and Tudor P10. So well done. That's our top 10. You can see there if we look at the Pro-Ams as well. Ogden done a great job as one of the Pro-Am drivers, but Gareth technically P2 in the for the Pro-Ams. So again, what a result. What an absolute result.
Definitely really good to
Yep.
see.
And Pierce on his debut, being the only amateur driver, but we'll not say that he's won the race, but he did have an incredible time of it. Well done to
Oh,
him.
definitely. Yes.
So let's have a little jump over into the other server.
Yes. But unfortunately, I won't be joining you for this one, so I'm gonna be off.
Yep,
I guess.
you're getting sacked for your attempt at the Wakar. So
No, I hope you guys have a good time. Bye bye.
yes, thank you for joining me, and we will see you next week. Right, so here we are into race 2 at Paul Ricard for Split Red, and let's have a look and see who is who on this circuit. So current times, obviously this is currently free practice, so not necessarily what we're going to be seeing in the race, but we do have Spence Robb up there, P1 followed very closely by Vining, and Dello. Dello put on a great show for us last week. There was lots of incidents and fighting, and so did Saturday. So a lot of these drivers here, nice and close together, which is what we like to see. Again, I always stand by, it doesn't matter really how fast you are, so long as everyone that you're racing with is in kind of similar pace, and you can get some really, really great entertaining racing. So let me just quickly check and see. I'm not 100% sure if we are getting a second commentator, so let me just check that, guys. Yeah, what a great race that last one was, wasn't it? And we've had it all. There was lots of close battles, mistakes we made, penalties galore, and we definitely had a surprise in qualifying with King not even getting onto basically setting a good time at all. So let's just have a look and see who's all out on track just now. Let's jump aboard and see Vittori, shall we? Currently sitting in P5, trying to bring up the stats as well on my monitor, but it's not doing that. Yeah, so he's currently a 10th down. I do expect he will be able to do better than that come the qualifying. Looks like he's kind of taking it a little bit easy just now. Let's see who else we've got on track. And getting results on if we are getting a second. Still trying to figure out what's happening with potential second. A familiar face, potentially we are trying to get into the booth, but we will wait and see. For now, you will have to cope with my dulcet tones helping you through this free practice session, which will be tipping over into qualifying very shortly. So don't worry, you don't have to wait 17 minutes for this session to end. We will be moving forward into the qualifying session in a little bit. So we've got some support for Francis in the chat. And to be honest, I am going to be throwing my support behind my good friend of mine, car number 60, Holzer, also known as McFriedlich. You might have seen him in the chat. I'm crossing my fingers for him to do well as he tries to make his way out onto the track, I believe. Car number 3. God, you make me look up numbers. Martin. Right. We'll keep an eye on Martin as well. He's staying in the pits just now. But we will check him out. Well, let's have a look at Delo. We've seen one incredibly fast Ferrari already tonight. So can Delo, similar car, presumably similar setup, all get it moving? I mean, the pace of King in the last race was phenomenal. So we do need to see if any of the Ferraris are able to put down that pace. But you know, the McLarens were right up there as well, and that Honda from Bauer done a fantastic job. Let's see. Yeah, so the first car out there is Delo as well, which is good to see. So we'll stay on board for him, keep an eye out and see what he's able to accomplish. But you know, this track is as I said in the last race, it is very difficult because it isn't really designed for racing. So there's so much area to make mistakes, there's runoffs, because in testing it doesn't really matter. And it's mostly pretty flat as well. So there's no obvious natural signs for you a lot of the time. But Delo here coming through the final few turns on to start his first flying lap. And I honestly, Delo he showed some good pace last week. So yeah, I feel that he could be someone that might actually be able to be right up there come the end of this qualifying session. Serade as well, I think he'll be up there. But let's just see. Like, there's so many guys out here who could potentially really put in a great lap time and be giving themselves a pole position and the best chance for a race. We did see in the last race, Thompson started out on pole, didn't work for him, so it's not a guarantee that you're going to just take off and win the race, but it still gives you that little advantage just moving forward. And yeah, chat, who is your money on for pole position? I'm seeing a lot of love for Delo. Just having a look through the list just now, and Delo is looking like he's putting down some good pace. He's about a half second faster than what he'd set previously, which is good to see. We always like to see improvements, and being the first one to come across the line, he is actually catching up to some back markers. He did go a little bit wide there, but I don't think it's actually cost him. I don't think he's invalidated, but it will have cost him a little bit of time. And will he be able to hold on? He's right onto the back here of Winnekeke. So this, he might end up in a little bit of a slipstream, but Winnekeke might want to get a move on or get out of the way so that it doesn't interrupt Delo's timing. Yep, Tommy, I agree. The safety car is glorious. If we can, we will show you it eventually because it just looks incredible. As Delo here comes across the line with a 1:54 flat. That is a very good lap time to put in straight away. As we see, my boy McFriedlich 1.5 seconds off the pace there, but we've seen Vinen 6/10 down. So Delo really setting the pace so far. That is what we like to see. That was an incredibly good first lap time, and he's just pulling himself straight back into the pits. I'm just looking through the rest of the field so far. So we've got Martin currently through the final sector. He's not really looking like he's lighting up the timing boards at the moment, but he's not too far off the pace. I think his lap is invalid, so this lap will not count. But he might just continue, you know, putting it down anyway, just so he knows for his own reference exactly how fast he's going and what he's got to do. And sometimes that's really good. Even if you know it's invalid, just continue, put it through, and then it's like a mental target for you. You'd be like, right, I hit a 1:55 that lap. I know that I could get like maybe a 1:54.7 or whatever. So it is good, even if you know that the lap's invalid. Just continue it, set it, and then take it from there. But having a look, Seraday's on a faster lap, but he's also invalidated, so no point in checking him out just now. Who looks like they're on an absolute flyer? Rosendahl, he is going very quick right now. He's currently about 9/10 up. He's right on the back of Spence Robb, and he looks like he should be able to set in a pretty decent lap time if he can just keep it tight for these final few turns. That should move him up to potentially P2. As Francis manages to put in a good lap time there in that Ferrari, and Spence Robb as well. And oh yeah, Rosendahl would have got that P2 if Spence Robb wasn't also on a flyer and just put in a time 0.003 of a lap faster. This is what you like to see. The top 3 drivers are separated by 0.03 of a second, and Rosendahl just slides off the track there. That's not ideal for him. Martin, though, is now on a valid lap time, and he looks like he is going pretty quick. His time is up 9/10 on what he'd done before, so this is a much better lap time for him. He just needs to keep it nice and clean. And this Bentley does look nice, doesn't it? It's got a very nice design. I quite like this. And all he's got is a final few turns to make sense of, and he should be able to. I mean, this is a very quick lap time now for what he's doing. 1.5 seconds a lap faster than what he set previously, which I said was invalid, but he should still be able to be a nice quick time here. Up in P7, that is a good time, a 1:54.6. Well done. Looking through the rest of the field, we've got a couple of drivers still in the pits. Let's have a look here. Who else have we got? And looking at here, Lagalante. Again, not set a lap time yet, but he is currently going pretty quickly. He's in the final sector, so not going too shabby for him. And he just needs to hold it for another few corners, keep it nice and clean, nice and tight. You can see how smooth he is there on the steering wheel. That really does benefit your lap time. And nice and straight, good acceleration and good traction there. That keeps him going nice and quick. Up to P8, good lap time there. But if we just look just at how every one of the top 10 is roughly within a second, that is what we like to see. And every nice, close, clean driving. Trying to see where else it looks like going fast. Dello, he's already on the fastest lap time. He's currently still in Sector 1, coming into Sector 2 now. But he is absolutely flying. He's currently about 2/10 up on his previous time. So this could be a 153 from Dello coming in. He just needs to keep it clean. Nice long straight. He looks like he's gaining time all the way down the straight just a little bit. So he clearly got a better exit out of the final turn before the straight, and now he just needs to, this final sector, keep it nice, clean, smooth. Don't try and do too much, just stick to what you know. There's a little bit wide there, just as you should. Clipping the curve nicely, a little dab on the brake and turning into the it's a very tricky corner. As you can see there, he's just, the car snaps away from him. It's just so hard. You need to trail brake into the corner, but you know, with all the weight shifting, it's just so difficult to keep the car going in the direction you want without having any lockups, and that, unfortunately, looks like it has cost him the 2/10 that he had gained. So he is going roughly exactly the same time as he'd set previously. So we'll see if he can manage to still dip into the 53s, but it's not looking like he can pull it off. Unfortunately, yeah, he goes slightly slower. And it looks like we do have our guest arrived. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing well, Badger. How are you doing?
Very well, doing very well. It's nice to have you here. Nice to have you in the booth. Yeah, what have you been thinking of the races so far?
So I haven't been able to catch much of the EU ones, but the AP ones have been really good so far. And I was really impressed with the EU guys last week. I'm so excited to kind of see it here this week.
Yeah, I actually have missed the AP. I've been working all day, but the last week's EU was incredible. Like after the race, Raggy and I literally sat in a call for about 40 minutes, just being like, "What did we just witness? That was incredible." It was just something else. And the race that's just finished as well. There was plenty of action. I don't know if you managed to catch that, or if you were.
So for that one, I was at work. I was hoping to maybe catch it, throw in like an earbud and listen to it, but it was a little busy today, so I didn't get the chance.
Unfortunate. But what we do have is a potential who could have been race winner is also going to be joining us here in the booth. Darren King. He will be with us in a moment, presumably. It looks like he will be joining, but yeah, that's. I'll give you the rundown. Basically, he looked like he could have qualified on pole, started last, and then made himself all the way up to P2, and looked like he could have got P1, but then he was issued a drive-through penalty, and then he had issues with speeding in the pit lane, and it all just went downhill for King there. So. Yeah, we'll get his thoughts on that race shortly, but we will stick to what's happening right now. We've got Rosendahl, Spence Robb, and Dello all within 0.03 of a second. This is just incredibly tight at the top.
Yeah, those are some very impressive times. Very consistent for them to be so close.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so impressed with just how tight they are. Each one of them is faster in a different sector. So Dello's fastest in Sector 1, and he's actually just faster in Sector 3 as well than Spence Rob. Spence Rob is very close to Dello in Sector 3, but Rosendahl absolutely annihilates both of them by 3/10 in Sector 2. So, yeah, each of them have merits in different parts of the track, but it's unbelievably tight.
So I come from the rookie series. That's my experience in OOR for driving, and I was proud of myself for getting like a 157.4, you know, and seeing these drivers hitting the 54s, 53s. I don't know where they find the time, and it's very impressive.
Yeah, honestly, one of the things that I noticed from the rookie series last season was how much the drivers really push each other. You know, like I've seen people in the first race kind of setting times about 3, 4, 5 seconds slower than what the pros were doing, and then by the end of the rookie series, you know, they were about 2 seconds or a second off what pros were doing. You're like, my god, you know, like this, you know, 5, 6 races ago, you could never have done that. It's just incredible to see how much these drivers push each other to just get better and better and better. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about the OOR community is just how much everybody is willing to help kind of like push each other, you know, give tips, you know, help tweak setups. So it has a really nice community.
Yeah, and honestly, community is so important, I think, in any sport, but particularly right now during the situation the world finds itself in. You know, it's good to have such supportive people willing to help you get better at things, and it's just it's such a lovely thing to experience and to see. And speaking of things that would be lovely to see, it looks like Rosenthal. No, I think he's just dropped a 10th there. It looked like he potentially could have got P2 there, potentially P1, but dropped it, unfortunately, just in the final few turns. Is there anyone on track right now who could potentially gain some positions? We've got Lagalante coming through. He's about 4/10ths up just now, so potentially Lagalante can jump all the way up into P5. Again, it looks like he's also dropping time in the final sector. No one seems to be nailing it right now as this comes to the final, you know, minute of the qualifying. Everyone seems to just be dropping it a little bit. Lagalante, is he going to manage to cross the line and move forward? He does get that P5, bringing a little bit closer to Francis. But right now, who else is on track that can do it? Seredy. Seredy's flying on 4/10ths a lap faster. Where would that put him? Could potentially jump all of these guys and put himself up to P6. Here he comes across the line. And no. Nothing. No gain.
I feel like the last few turns, you know, you can really lose a lot of time if you're not careful there.
Yeah. Honestly, like, it's something that, I mean, I will be the first to say I am not a fan of this track. But that being said, there is a lot of skill involved in doing this track correctly. You know, we've seen in the last race there was plenty of mistakes made, and that caused for penalties, drive-throughs. It's interesting because there's so much of this track that is designed as a test track, so that it's like so much runoff, you can make so many mistakes, but at the same time, the actual circuit is very tricky. There's a lot of like kind of off camber turns, and you know the weight distribution of the car is very difficult to control. So it does involve a lot of skill to actually set a really good lap time here without losing the car.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like there are a lot of sections where, you know, you've got a lot of room to kind of push the track limits, but you have to be careful. I think it's easy to overshoot those limits as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's kind of it is designed that way to allow you to do that because it is a test. But yeah, it's good that we have the stewards here keeping an eye on that and penalising people who kind of take advantage of it. But as a driver, it's so difficult not to try and gain that extra meter in your braking zone, because you know realistically the consequence of you messing it up isn't that you go into the wall, it's that you might get a slap on the wrist from the stewards. So yep, but here we go, the beautiful safety car showing us the way forward. I absolutely love this car. It is
I
the
do
best
too. I'm a
car.
big fan. Big fan of the livery this season. And I think it's nice that they went with the Alpine because it's so small. It shows you like a good like a comparison, like just in the size difference between the GT3s and the GT4s.
Yeah, as you say, it does look. It looks kind of like one of those model cars that you've got, rather than like a full race car. But my lord, it's the color scheme. Whoever designed that, take a bow, because it is just great. It's just so nice to look at. I am a big fan of cars that just go for like having the yellow hubcaps and everything. I'm just like, yep, I'm all about this life. And it looks like we do believe we have the man himself, Darren King, available.
How we doing, guys? You okay?
I am all good. How's things?
Yeah, good. Bit disappointed, but we'll come back and fight next week, right? So.
Yeah, so I do want to ask questions about that while we're on the formation lap. Did you deliberately bottle your qualifying?
Yeah. I saw the chat, but I'm never doing it again, because it come up and bit me right in the backside during that race, right?
I said during the formation lap, I was like, I think you have deliberately basically messed up your qualifying because you're so confident that you will win this race, and I believe that you could do it. And then, 30 minutes into the race, it looked like there was nothing that could stop you from winning the race. You were catching up, and it was just an incredible drive until the mistakes with the pits and the track limits, getting the drive through and then speeding into the pits.
Boyer in a Honda had amazing pace in the Honda, because the Honda's he's the slowest track and car combo, so he drove amazing anyway, so he definitely deserved that win tonight.
Yeah, it was incredible to see. But what we'll do is we'll just head back to the actual race that's on just now, and we will quiz you on that in a little bit. But right now the drivers are lining up, getting ready to go. So let's see if Dello can manage to get himself a good start.
Ferrari's in the top 4. Good job, boys. Let's go.
Yep, the Ferraris have done good. Dello went a little bit wide there, but he's back on track before green, so it should be fine. But yeah, the Ferraris have done a good job there, but so to be honest, like the McLarens in the last race done an incredible job. So maybe we'll see the sole McLaren in this race pull itself back up. But here we go, the green light, and Rosendal's already making a move here on Dello. Dello's dropped back straight away. So that's Spence Robb away into the lead. He's got himself a little bit of a gap. Francis going around the outside. Dello's on the inside. He's been swarmed and he's been spun. That's him, and all sorts of collisions. He's now facing the wrong way. That's him from first to last. Dello has had a shocking one. And there's been lots of gaps there formed from... Looks like Spence Robb has just been given a big leeway. Francis has had a bit of a run in like Galante Balotelli. Look at like he's going to make the move stick as well. There's so much action there within the first few turns.
Yeah, it looked like they were going like 3 or 4 cars wide into that first turn.
Yep, that's always the danger. But Spence Robb there, lovely big gap. As we have a look down, car number 3, Martin, he's looks like he potentially might be getting a move in by Serdi. Serdi's making a move on Trainer, so you'll need to watch out for that. Serdi looks like he is absolutely on a flyer. Trainer does manage to withhold the position.
Yeah, if the Ferraris here stay patient, they've got so much more straight line speed than any other car on this track. So as long as they're close, as we get back onto the back straight here, they've easily got the move done, So just try to be patient here.
A little bit of patience goes a long way in motor racing, especially for a race as long as this. It's an hour long, but it looks like there's been some mistakes there from Trainer as he just goes off. Serdi manages to make the move and make it stick. So he does need to get a move back on. Trainer just stick within, but now he's got my man Holzer behind him trying to get the move done. That's McFriedlich for those in chat. You might have seen him earlier. But let's have a look back up the front as well. So we've got Vining here just on the back of Bathory. Yep. Looks like well, this is something I'll ask you, because we've got right here in Rosendahl in second place in the Lamborghini. And what we saw in the last race was the Lamborghini failing to overtake a McLaren on the straight every single lap. Does the Lamborghini just have no top end speed? Because it looked like even in the slipstream it just wasn't able to make the move.
No, the Lambo's definitely there, but the McLaren and the Ferrari are just that little bit above, right? The Lambo. Plus, it could be the guy's up. He may have a bit more of a stable car, so that's the trade-off around it. You can run low wing to get that overtake done on the straight, but through the fast corners, you're very unstable, especially coming towards the end of the stint, like on the tyres. So that's the trade-off that people may be doing there.
Yeah, it's the same as most things. You can't have the car set up for everything. But we just have a look here at Dello, who's went from first all the way to dead last, and he's still 6 seconds off the pace from 17th position. So he has had an absolute nightmare for the start of the race as we just come back up. It looks like Selkins has lost the position there to Lizelle. A little bit of weaving there, just coming into the sector 3, but that should be all good. But Shelikins has lost that position. He's just staying nice in the back, seeing if he can maybe make a move stick, try and get up the inside, but it's just not working for him right now. So much action on the track right now. Trainer is getting overtaken again. Looks like McFriedlich is managing to make that move stick. It's good to see.
Yeah, and like with me, right, you got to be patient, because I got 2 or 3 cuts within 7 minutes. So
7 minutes. Oh.
Yeah, so hopefully these guys are a bit more patient than me. I think one of them though was avoiding one of the crashes, and I did get a cut for that. But yeah, still the other
I
two.
did see that. It was against. Who was it against?
I think it was the BMW, right?
I think
it may have been Barnet. But I got to say, right, the racing in my tier has been unbelievable. Like side by side action. Don't get me wrong. I think I had a little bit of a door bang with the Nissan, but apart from that, it's been absolutely unreal. So yeah,
you did have a little bit of a touch, with the Nissan, but again, it was so close between you guys anyway. I think the racing, actually across both splits, has been just incredible so far. And to be honest, as we see here, just Martin looking at the back of Lizelle, looks like he might be able to make a move stick, and I know there's a lot of fans for Martin in the chat, so you guys might be about to see your man take P7 here. If he should be able to make it stick into the braking zone. If he moves out now into Lizelle, he's had to slipstream, but he just doesn't seem to have the top line speed to make it fully passed by the braking zone, and he's had to brake early and cut back in, so good defending there by Lizelle.
To go around the outside there, you got to be very brave and have a lot of confidence in the car. It's very bumpy on the outside on the marbles, and it's easy to go around there.
Yeah, I think that turn, it's pretty tough when you go wide to kind of keep it stable and, not spin out.
Yeah, there's so many off-camber turns on this track that it's always like the car is trying to fight you. It's like the car wants to go a different way from the way you're trying to pull it, which makes it, you have to be full of concentration. You have to have full faith and trust in your car that it's going to stick when you tell it to move. But it is something that sometimes, no matter how good you are, sometimes it's going to snap and you're going to have to try and make a catch. So it is something all these drivers will have to be aware of, and especially when you're trying to go side by side through an off-camber turn. If one of you make a mistake, that's both of you out of the race.
And that's it. And going on the outside there, you run the risk, right, of getting a cut as well. And this track is so easy to get a cut, especially turn 1, literally half a tyre width over that inside on the turn-in as a cut, and then on the exit as well. So
yeah, there's so. I was saying this earlier before you joined. It's so easy to do it, like to to cut because it is designed as a test track, so it's designed to have so much runoff. And as a driver, instinctively, you're going to try and make every use of every bit, like, foot of space that you've got. And so, like, if you know you're not going to hit a wall, you try and take that extra meter, you know, the extra meter in the braking, and just try and make it work. But here we go, Lazelle's trying to make a move here on Saturday. Looks like he does have the overspeed to try and make it. Will he make it stick into the braking zone? He's actually fully passed before he even comes to the braking zone, so that's him. He manages to make that apex, but he went in a little bit too hot. He's went quite wide, just makes it back onto the track, and Saturday has lost that position.
Right avoidance there by the Lamborghini though, to pull left. He kept out of everyone's way, so that's a great by him. That could have been disastrous right there.
Yep, and we did see in the last split that there was, you know, carnage that happened there on lap 1, so it was good to see that it was able to get out of the way before any dangers. But if we have a look at Lagalente, he has been given 15 seconds of penalties for collisions. It looks like it was between himself, Martin, and Francis, so he caused a kind of 3-car collision in lap 1 by the looks of things that he's been given a penalty for. I think that's what that was for. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cam, if you're still around.
Delio and the Ferraris catching up to the back of the group now as well. It's only 3 seconds off of P17, which is good. Starting to recover.
Yeah, getting a lot. You know, it's always, I mean, most tracks are about how you maintain, but we're just getting a replay actually of the start, so let's see if we can confirm exactly what this penalty was for, as we just, everyone launches. And you know, Rosendahl got such a good start here. You know, you can see him immediately swallowing up Dello, absolutely taking him out. And that start from Dello was so delayed, it really put him in such a difficult position because he was inside 3 different cars. And you can see there, that's the collision. That's the collision that's been given for penalties. And, you know, quite fair, I would say. You know, he made him move up the inside and ended up just having like a 3-car collision as everyone kind of concertinaed together. And
I think the Bentley would have collected him though as well there. The Bentley was getting so deep on the brakes there.
Yeah.
I think he was lucky as well to get away with that. But again, being super aggressive in turn 1, we say this all the time, right? You can lose the race so easily. Better off just backing out of it, trying to get round.
Yeah. Again, it kind of did get cemented for Dello's really slow start, but that was still a very audacious move by Lagalente, and that's cost him a 15-second penalty, and realistically also removes his chances of getting on the podium. But what it doesn't remove is the drivers behind him trying to make a move, so he's going to lose the positions anyway, but they're going to try and do it on track as Battore is fighting against Martin. Martin again, chat favourite so far. He's trying to make the move on the outside, gaining the inside for this turn, but he's just not been able to get the foot down. He just did not have the zone to do it, and Battore manages to keep that position from Martin. But what it has shown is Martin does have pace, and he is desperate to get past and show it.
Just the Bentley just lacking that straight line speed, you know, and the Audi's just a little bit quicker, just where it needs to be, just to keep in front, right? Making it very hard. They just need to keep that pressure on, trying to hold for a mistake.
Yeah, but right now he's got the slipstream, and realistically the Audi does not have any slipstream, so can he make it work? But the Bentley unfortunately is probably pulled out too early, and he's not going to get the stick in, is he? He might actually just get it before the corner, which yep. Battore there, very brave, made the move, and Martin unfortunately has to concede to that corner. Bentley, and as you say, just does not have that straight line speed to make that stick. If he'd stayed in the slipstream and just lit off the throttle for a little bit and just kind of matched pace with Battore and then put the foot down, maybe, you know, 300, 200 meters away from the braking zone, he might have been able to make that stick just by gaining that speed at the end. But yeah, that's some very close racing.
He's got to try to compromise his line going onto that back straight so the Audi doesn't get a good run. That's the only way I see him making that move on that straight, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. You know, everywhere about racing, there's always a compromise for something, and you know, you try and make people uncomfortable, and that was something that you, when you were making your way through the pack in the last split, were doing fantastically. You were just putting people in very uncomfortable positions. You know, making them defend into corners that realistically they would never have lost anyway. You were just pushing them to be like, if you don't close the door, I'm going.
You're making me blush over here, you know. God. All these nice comments. What's going on? Oh, big move.
What can I say? I admire skill.
Oh,
I think that's one of the important skills is you need to try and, you know, make your presence known and get the other drivers uncomfortable to try and force them to make a mistake so you can get around them.
Yeah, one of my favourite things in racing is watching a perfectly executed mind punt. You know, you just make yourself large in their mirrors so that they miss a braking zone or that they defend too hard or too early and just lock up, and you're like, yep, there you go, you're off the track. Just, I didn't even move, I didn't do anything, but you just knew I was here and it was enough.
Yeah, a lot of people I see doing as well. Like defending corners that you don't need to really defend in, and that's what compromises them as well, you know. So whenever I'm practicing a track, like especially like Laguna or Paul Ricard, like I think like turn 6, turn 7 at Paul Ricard, there's no way of making an overtake. So there's no point in defending where people they get a bit flustered, they defend there, and that compromises them going into 7 and 8.
Yeah. You know, it's certainly like if you are to try and make a move into turn 6 and turn 7, it's so high risk that it's not worth it. You know, you're going to bottle that most of the time.
Martin has been on it all race.
Yep. And it looks like he might finally be pushing Vittori into a difficult position. It did make him break early. Martin goes round the outside, but Vittori gets a very beautiful cut just from that braking early, and that overspeed allows him to just squeeze on past once again. Martin, he needs to find another way around.
So looking at the back of the grid, it looks like Dello has been able to pick up quite a few spots. He's up into 15th.
Yep, he's definitely got the pace of the guys that he's around currently. He is at least a second and a half faster than anyone else around him. So, yeah, he's absolutely flying, but unfortunately he's so far off where he wants to be. You know, he's going about as fast as some of the leaders, but he's just not able to realistically gain anything from this race unless we have a safety car.
That's definitely a cut for the Audi though.
What's that?
That's definitely a cut for the Audi there. One wheel outside them cones on the left hand side is an instant cut as you come back on. So I reckon he's on 2 warnings now. Oh, the belly's
I think Martin. Oh, that was too much. That was too much.
He's got to relinquish the position. I was going to get a penalty, and that may be another cut for the Audi coming on back like that as well. But it's
Martin did relinquish the position, but he pulled off so much that Serides actually came through, and that's a drive-through penalty there for track limits for Tillett. But Serides managed to get through. But Martin, he was also already on a track warning for this lap. His lap time is invalid, so that's Vittori, Martin, Serides, and Lazelle were all got a track warning that lap. So yeah, they all need to really kind of rein it in a little bit and behave themselves. But Serides, that was a great opportunistic move. He saw the disasters that was happening in front of him. Martin obviously had to lift off to give that position back to Vittori, and Serides just said thank you very much and took the position back. Oh, and that's another drive-through penalty, and that's for Martin. Martin's given himself a drive-through penalty. He's been absolutely flying, but track limits again. Yeah. And Lazelle behind him also getting track limits, so I don't know how many warnings he's on, but these two need to really clean it up. But Martin has to serve a drive-through penalty. So, Darren, have you got any tips for Martin here on how to get into the pits without any speed warnings?
In my defense, I have it on automatic, and we didn't do a pit stop in the last race, so I just went into the pits, and I just accelerated it, and then before I even realised it hadn't come on, you know. And then for the second one, I
Yeah.
forgot in the MFD that there's a spin. Oh, she's round.
Yeah,
Was
that's,
that Spence Robb, it looked like?
Yeah.
I think so. I think it was. He's dropped a fair few positions. He was leading this race kind of comfortably. He's now at the back of Vining, so yep.
Wow, the lead had spun round.
Yep. Seemed to just be on his own. I don't think he was under much attack from Rosendahl.
It looked
So,
like he
again,
went wide in that turn.
Yeah. I thought Francis was P2 as well.
no, Francis was P3. He was catching up to the back of Rosendahl. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and obviously, I forgot in the MFD you can turn the pit limit run. So totally on me. Went in for the second one. Tried to do it on the foot. Accelerate just that little bit too much in the pit lane and give himself that second one. So yeah, totally on me. Definitely needed a slap after that one.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure every single one of us has done that at some point. The one I always do is I shift up a gear, which automatically disables the pit limiter, and like as I'm leaving, I shift up too early and then speed out the pits. I'm like, God damn it!
That's the same thing.
Yeah, it's we've all done it. We've all been there.
Wow. Can we check Francis's pit? What's Francis's lap times against Rosendahl on P1? So I'm sure that gap's trying to come down.
Francis last lap was a 154.9 and Rosendahl was a 155.4, so he's about half a second a lap faster right now.
Yeah. So if that was me now and I was Francis, hopefully Francis took a little bit more fuel. So the overcut, like just by 2 laps, you can gain quite a lot of time, because on cold tyres at this track, you lose about 8 tenths a lap. Like them first 2 laps, getting them up to temperature. Oh, big wide there as well.
Very wide there from Lazelle, and that's him lost the position to Holzer.
I don't know if you guys see there as well, there's a bump. So as you turn back, if you go wide there, as you try to come back onto the track, try not to get that cut. Yeah. There's actually a bump there that actually flicks the car. And I've done it a few times. You spin trying to get back on, trying not to get that corner cut. So yeah, you've got to be very careful there as well. Yeah, we saw a few drivers in the last race hit that bump. Some of them trying to kind of overzealously make sure they don't lose an extra position after they've made a mistake. But yeah, I just want to have a chat there about Holzer. That's a very good position for him so far. He kept sitting in P9. Martin's now coming in for his drive-through, so that puts him up to P8, and it's a good drive for him. Yep.
He's always someone who is that Lazelle just taking the scenic route behind him, but he's always someone who's kind of there or thereabouts. He's not got the out-and-out pace, but he is very consistent and he's very clean and he's very respectful for the drivers around him. So it's always good to see when he does well, because we don't like always watching people just ram their way through. It's good to see someone just carefully pick at someone until they can make the position stick. And he looks like he is slowly catching this battle in front of him between Vittori and Seredi. So we might see this turn into a 3-way battle if these guys can't decide who's the quicker one.
Yeah, for sure.
But it looks like Spence Robb as well is catching up to the back of Vining. Looks like he might make the move, stick on this end of the straight. He's just not quite quick enough to make it stick.
Yeah, there's no way the Porsche is getting past the Nissan on the straight. No way.
Yeah, that Nissan does seem to have. We were actually we were calling the Nissan in the last race the big chunker or something, because it was just the defense from the Nissan drivers. It was so wide. No one could get past it on the straights. It was just gone, and then in the corners, it was just picking the positions and being incredibly wide. Everyone was struggling to get past them.
Yeah, I actually had nightmares about the Nissan from round 1 at Silverstone. I can't remember the guy's name, Lechenko I think it was. I couldn't get around him. Like, this guy, honestly, it felt like I was trying to go around a bus. Like, everywhere I tried to go, he was putting the car absolutely perfect defending on the moves on.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the most impressive things about the first round, was just watching what he managed to defend.
Yep, Levchenko, I think, was defending for roughly about 22 laps or something, and it was just incredible to watch. It really was. It was making that car very, very, very wide. But Spence Robb here looks like he's trying to make the move stick and gets it done. He's now moved up a position, trying to reclaim all the time that he lost from that spin. So that's put him back up to P4, technically back onto the podium because Lagalente is not keeping that with that 15-second penalty.
Oh, little tap.
Oh,
Love tap there. Yep, that's. Oh, that could have been really bad. He's just, yeah. You are to hold on to the brakes, but like when you hold on to the brakes right in the middle of the track, that's everyone
never
behind
good.
you now. Yeah, they've got nowhere to go.
Yeah, and I think as well, some drivers panic, and I don't know if they have like the ignition switch near their hand, and they hit that, and it turns the car off. So it looks like they're actually parked there, but he might have even turned the car off accidentally, and he's sitting there trying to start it in the middle of the track. So
Yeah, potentially. I'll try and get an onboard of that at some point and see if that actually happened or not. But yeah, it's one of those things, you know, you try and just follow the instructions, but then sometimes you don't realise where you are slamming on your brake, and then you realise I'm actually in a more dangerous position now than if I just let the car roll for a little bit.
yeah, that's it. Oh, Raggy's in the chat. Are you feeling better, dude?
Yep, so for those of you who don't know, Raggy was supposed to be joining us in the commentary booth, but he's not feeling particularly great today, and so we demanded that he spend some time on the couch and rest. But we do miss you, and we will hopefully see you next week if you're feeling up to it.
If you want to feel better, Raggy, go watch the first race and me getting 2 drive-throughs. That'll make you feel better.
He was watching it the entire time. He's well aware of your drive-through situation.
Yeah. I definitely know he had a grin on his face seeing them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
France is 1.3 seconds behind now as well. This could be a good day for the
Francis is
Ferrari.
absolutely close, man. He's got such a good pace, but right now he's about 0.3 of a lap faster than Rosendahl. But Francis will soon be in proper amount of slipstream as we get another drive-through for Tillett. I think is that his second drive-through? And a 15-second penalty for Serade for causing a collision on lap 11, and I'll tell you who that was with as well. Just gonna find it.
Biden doing amazing in the Nissan right there, P5. Great job by him. That Nissan's such a tricky car to set up and drive. Like, he's very quick on the straights, but it's very snap oversteering on corner and exit. So doing an amazing job there. In the AM, he's in the AM class as well. So
yeah.
He's doing
I think
a great job.
I think Sarade's collision was with Vittori.
Yes, it was. I've actually just brought it up. It was Pittori. So, yep, Serade getting. I thought it was 15 seconds, but it looks like he's got 20 seconds. Did he already have 5 seconds or something?
They also picked up a 5-second penalty for an infraction on the same lap.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what that was.
Probably some form of. He might have overtaken under, you know, after like crashing into someone that didn't hand the position back or something. Maybe that's what's happened. But yeah, I'll let the stewards let us know exactly what that infraction was if anyone is in the chat. But yeah, let's have a look here. See, we've got an Adam Black who. It's actually I really quite like the look of the Mercedes. I think it is a very nice looking car right now. He's trying to catch up onto the back Trainer, as just in front of Trainer we've got Pittori trying to catch up onto the back of Holzhorn. It looks like he should be able to stick nice and close down the Mistral straight. Yeah, that McLaren just seems to have so much straight line speed that, you know, Holzhorn's gone by the time Pittori even gets on the straight. So now he's got the slipstream, but he needs to catch back up to the car that he was right behind just moments ago. That McLaren is just so quick in a straight line.
Yeah, and also with the McLaren, you can actually run. You can get away with running quite a lot of wing. So it has great corner speed because it has so much downforce, and it's still quick on the straight. So for the Audi to be quick, you actually have to run near on minimal wing just to keep that straight line speed. And but it struggles in the corners, especially towards the end of the stint. So that's what makes the McLaren and the Ferrari so much better than any other car here. You can get away with running that wing, and you still keep that top speed
Yeah,
throughout.
that's just got such good kind of mechanical grip that they can just lower that wing and still have everything in the corners. So, yep,
Yeah.
Holzer just makes a bit of a mistake there, but he shouldn't really have to fight this into this corner too much. He just pins it on the apex, and it looks like Holzer's coming into the pits anyway. So that releases Battori to continue on his way, as Holzer one of the first to come into the pits.
And Francis as well out of P2s in a bit. So I'm curious. He needs some really good outlaps now. So hopefully keep that gap the same. Because like I said, if Rosendale and that Lamborghini does some good in laps, he will gain a bit of time and have fresher tyres towards the end.
Yep. Obviously the track temperature right now is a little bit lower than it was in the previous race, so you do have more of a kind of window for kind of pushing the tyres hard. So you could potentially raise the pressures a little bit and not lose as much while the tyres are cold. But it's all a balancing act as well, everything else, because if you push the tyres too hard, they overheat, and then you have absolutely no grip. So yeah, we need to see what Francis can do on his outlaps, see if he's able to kind of pull in that nice sweet spot and not let Rosendahl disappear into the distance.
So I know Dello hasn't pitted yet, but looks like they've been able to make it up to 8th place after falling all the way back to the the back of the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's coming up to Shelkins here, who is he showed some good pace last race, like last week. So he is a little bit off it today, but he was kind of in the wars last week. We'll see if how much quicker Dello can be, but right now it looks like he's about a second quicker than Selkins in front of him. So yeah, that's very good going. Dello's having a really good recovery drive. How much he'll actually gain from it, it's so difficult to know until all the pit stops have happened. But yeah, he's going to be it's going to be a hard one for him to take, knowing as we have a look. Actually, it looks like Vining's just had a spin out as well on the back straight. So, but yeah, it's going to be a hard one for Dello to take, because he did have such a good qualifying session, and it all came undone within the first few corners.
But depending on the
right
damage, depending on his damage right now, if he carries on going like this, I still feel like he can maybe get back into that 5th, 6th place. It's depending on how much fuel he's got in the car right now. I think he's one of the quickest on track.
Yeah, he's definitely going pretty quick right now, which is good to see. But it's does he have any damage? I mean, his lap times aren't the fastest compared to like the front runners, but if he could just keep consistent and try not to have any more incidents, he's still potentially. I mean, I don't think he'll quite get it to 5th, but 7th, 8th, those positions are definitely on the cards for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just have a look and see. We've got Rosendahl now. He has pitted, and he has came out behind Francis. So that undercut has actually worked for Francis. Francis currently sitting in net P1.
Nice.
So Rosendahl now has the work to try and catch up in the Lamborghini. But
he lost a lot of time.
He did lose a lot of time. I'm just trying to see in the stats. I mean, I can't actually see where he lost it.
Because he had a 2-second advantage before the pit stop. But if you miss your box, literally you
Yep.
lose 3 seconds with them just moving the car, going up and down. So he may have just missed his box. That's where it was. Oh
Yeah.
no!
Yeah, that's a good point.
He asked him right there, nearly rear-ended the under the gravelings.
Yeah, and Winigeki's actually just went off there himself. So something else to watch. But here we go. We're getting a replay here, and what exactly is happening?
Oh,
Oh,
He got tapped.
yeah. That's that is a big collision. I would not be surprised if Fining's got some incredible damage on that car now. But if we go back to the front here, we've got Dello right on the back of Skelikins, and realistically, he's going to make the stick. He's going to get this long before the braking zone. So that's great for Dello. He's moving up into P2. Obviously, still needs to pit, but again, what a recovery drive so far from him. And it looks like behind him, Skelikins has just went off the track. He's completely overshot his braking zone. And yep, drive through for Winigeki for causing that collision on lap 15. So, kind of, I think we all thought that was coming, and yep, he's been given the slap on the wrists. And a 30-second stop go as well for Kujon.
yeah, I feel as well. A lot of these guys are on quite a lot of warnings already, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a few drive-throughs in the last like 10 or 15 minutes. You know, especially when it starts to close up a little bit.
Yep, Dello into the pits. We'll see where he can feed back out. As I say, I'm expecting him to be about 7th or so by the end of this race. He seems to have some good pace. But Vittori, he's in the pits now. Currently was the leader. Where will he feed into at the end of this? As we have a look at Kula trying to get onto the back of Trainer, but he's just went way wide. So another penalty coming in for car 66, which is Kujon again. The Rosendahl is slightly catching our net race leader, Francis, by about 2/10 of a lap. So that's something we need to keep an eye on. But yep, Kula is right here on the back of Trainer. Will he be able to try and... Oh, the Trainers went a little bit deep, and that's just allowed Kula to try and make the move up the inside, but that stops him from getting the drive that he really wanted out of the corner. Has to slip back into the back of Trainer and try and get that slipstream. Tillett with another drive through. I'm pretty sure that's his second for track limits, so that's something he'll need to keep an eye on as well. And you know, a really good recovery from Spence Robb as well after that spin. He's still a fair way off the guys in front, but good recovery for him. He's back into a podium position. Could really be happy with that.
Yeah, I think he might have had another instinct. I'm sure he wasn't that far back before the pits, and he looks like he's dropping a bit of time.
It was behind. He was behind Lagalente, but Lagalente had a 15-second penalty, so there was a bit of a gap between Francis and Rosendahl to Lagalente.
He's had a great drive so far. He's A Black in the Mercedes, started P15 just inside that top 10.
Yep, really Adam Black, he is. He's doing a good job. You know, I'm curious. I don't think he was racing in the last race, and I happened to mention to a colleague of mine called Adam Black about this race series, and now we have an Adam Black racing. So I need to, I need to find out if he has just been fly with me and didn't tell me that he's actually a race driver, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to get involved in this series. I'm going to make him talk about how spectacular I am. So, and as it just pops up on the screen there, Adam Black on debut. So yeah, definitely he was not here last week. So I need to find out if my colleague is a secret racer and he just didn't tell me about this, because I would be very sad if this is the case. I need to know these things in advance. I could have been bigging him up.
There was an Adam Black in my split for the North American Rookie Series, and I'm wondering if it's the same driver.
Okay. So we'll need to keep an eye on that. We'll find out who and where this Adam Black hails from. So yeah, okay. Apparently you're right. So it's not my colleague, which is good, to be honest, because I would have felt sad if he didn't tell me that he was a secret racer.
I feel like the Lamborghini is running a little bit more wing than the Ferrari. This seems to have a little bit more corner speed, but then the Ferrari's just pulling that gap again on the straights here.
Yeah, it's just got the traction out the corners that matter. So Rosendahl will have to have a very good exit onto the Mistral straight if he's going to try and make a move stick. But Francis looks like he's kind of quite comfortable right now, honestly.
Yeah.
He's just pulling over, trying to get Rosendahl out of the slipstream straight away. But yep, there's no need to move over and defend this corner. Really, he's far enough ahead that it shouldn't make a difference. And Rosendahl's just going to have to try. And these corners here, the important corners leading up to the Mistral straight, just maintain your momentum, keep moving, keep going, and get your exit right onto the Mistral straight and give yourself the best opportunity. You know the car in front has a far better top speed than you, so you need to make sure that your acceleration out of these corners here are crucial. They need to be absolutely on point. Get it nice and smooth, nice and planted, and just follow through and keep that slipstream. And he seems to have done a good job, but there is a bit of a gap, so will it make the difference? Can he catch up by the end of this straight? It looks like the gap's probably too big.
Yeah. Adam Black making a mistake there. But Spencer Rob has made up a second and a half in 2 laps. Just over 2 laps. It's down to 8.7 now. Almost 10. Just over 10 seconds.
You know, and the good thing for Spencer Rob is if these guys fight out in front, that's just inviting him back into this battle. So you know, if Rosendahl can start putting his nose in and making Francis uncomfortable, you know, Spence Rob could be moving himself up the podium positions.
Yeah, Spence Rob right now, if it was me, he's praying for these guys to fight. He's praying just so he can get involved there. He's definitely got the pace, you know, but obviously 9 seconds is a pretty big gap there.
Yeah, that one mistake, you know, cost him so much time. And it's what we were saying earlier, there's so many corners on this track where the car just tries to pull away from you, and if it snaps and you can't catch it, you know, it can prove very, very costly.
I feel like Rosendahl definitely, I feel like he's definitely got the speed. I feel like he's being pretty patient right now. I feel like he's sort of just sitting there, just letting his clock go down. You know, they've got a big gap behind.
Yeah. I think he definitely does have the pace. He just needs to, you know, maybe make his presence a little bit more known. I mean, you know, Francis right now, he's doing a great job, and he knows that the way the car's set up and handles, it's kind of in his favour right now. So he's kind of feeling comfortable, and Rosendahl needs to try his best to make sure that Francis is not feeling comfortable. But it looks like Rosendahl is much closer this time. He's had a good run out of that final turn there onto the Mistral straight. So this will allow him to get better slipstream, get nice and close. But again, just the top speed of that Ferrari is so much that it's not really doing much to help Rosendahl, despite being this close in the slipstream, with Francis punching a big hole in the air.
Yeah, that Ferrari top speed is just incredible.
Yeah, he just needs to keep trying to pressure him and make him make mistakes. Which, to be fair, right now Francis is doing a very good job of just maintaining his speed and position, and you know, just keeping everything nice and smooth and maintaining momentum, which is very important around here.
Yeah. Delhi on the back of P7 right now as well. For that move. Man, the Ferrari's
not really too far. Yeah.
I just realised as well, a trainer up from P14 into P7, P6. But he's had an amazing Amazing stint right now. Going for the move as well.
Yep, just not got the space there to make it stick, and might run out a little bit wide here, but yeah, to be honest, Delos had an incredible recovery, and he should be able to feel proud in what he's achieved, but to be honest, I think that P6 is on the cards for him, potentially even the P5 from Holzer up ahead. You know,
Yeah,
there is a bit of a gap. Yep.
What's
You
impressive
did say
about
it.
Martin,
I
even
did
after
say
the drive-through penalty, he managed to catch back up to Batory and still get around him.
That's, yeah, you know, again, he's not the only person that we've seen get a drive-through, but it was one of those things that's really taken him out of contention.
That was close right there for Trainer. Is this name Trainer? Sorry, I don't want to get that wrong. Going around
Yep,
there. The tap on that slow corner there, especially when you go across the bumps, it just makes the rear so loose. It's so easy to go around.
Yeah. Yeah, Delos managed to overtake Kula and now just catching up to the back of his teammates, and that's Tillett with another drive-through penalty. So he is 3 laps down and not having a good day. We now just have a look here at Batory. Kind of being caught at the back by Shelikins. So yeah, it's definitely something he's now going to have to go into defensive mode. He's moved the car over kind of pretty early. He's now taking centre line, which, you know, completely entitled to do. But the Mercedes right now is absolutely flying behind him. He's already managed to pull out to the outside, and it looks like he might make it before the braking zone. They're going to be so close and so tight, but he does make it stick, and he just needs to keep it on the track, which he manages just. And that is a good position from the car. Oh, Batory nearly runs into the back of him.
A little loose there, it looked like.
Yeah.
So, did you see how close them guys got? So when you're racing, like that distance will feel really far. Like you'll feel like you're quite far away from that car. But when you're watching it from the broadcast, it looks so close. Like crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like knowing the dimension of your car is yeah, that's, you need to be pinpoint, otherwise, you know, you especially we saw in the earlier with, you know, slipstreaming, if you can time that perfectly, if you know the exact dimensions of your car and you pull out at the very last moment, you've got such a slingshot to get past. But you know, you see so many drivers who pull out from the slipstream with, you know, like a car length space between them. You don't need to do it that early, you're just losing time by doing it.
Oh, Martin with the drive-through.
Yeah, that's, again, we were just saying, you know, he's had a good recovery after that drive-through, and he's been given another one. He's not been able to keep it within on the black stuff. He needs to keep it within the white lines.
I can't say too much, you know, I got one as well, so it's easily done. It is really easily done. Spencer Robb is absolutely flying, 7.7 seconds now. That's a shame about that spin. He definitely could have been fighting for that win today.
Yeah, currently he's 6/10 faster than our race leader. So yeah, that's
7 seconds is not a lot. If them two get into it for 1 or 2 laps, the race is definitely going to open up, and I reckon Spencer will be right there, you know, to maybe have an attack.
Yep, Rosendal, as I say, just needs to start putting pressure on Francis in areas where it makes him uncomfortable. Right now he's not really been able to do that, so Francis is sitting pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
We'll see how long that maintains, but that was Kula attempting to make a move on Martin there. Martin's having to come into the pits anyway, so, you know, you probably don't need to be fighting this too hard. You're just going to be slowing yourself down as he goes a little bit wide. Yeah, needs to keep an eye on that. Delo, what a recovery drive from him, you know. Great qualifying session, an awful first lap, but back up P7, or now P6 actually, he's just taken over his teammate, Trainer, so yeah, what a good drive, what a very good drive, and as I said earlier, once he gets past his teammate, it's not a million miles away to get to Holzer, which could potentially get that P5. He's got 13 minutes to catch up. Let's see if he can do it.
What's the lap times for Holzer?
Currently, Holzer is doing a 156.5. Delo's been doing a 156.2. However, that was as he was behind his teammate. It was doing some 155s in clean air. So
Okay.
potentially he's now going to start putting in some 155s.
Yeah. Great recovery drive there, and 3 Ferraris in the top 7. So that's good as well. Good team points right there.
Yep, the Ferraris are really showing some strength today, which is good to see. But if we also have a little look just from Francis's rear wing here, Rosendahl, he's getting close in the wrong areas. You know, looks like he's about to try and make a move, and then suddenly he's 6-7 car lengths away, just not positioning the car well. But he does seem to run through this sector 1 much better than Francis does, so he'll catch back up and then not be able to do anything by the straight. So yeah, we'll see if he's able to start adapting his style a little bit, see if he can start rolling through some more corners and gaining a little bit more momentum. But you can see just how much he's actually able to catch Francis in this sector alone. But unfortunately, the way the cars are set up, he's just not gaining here on the Mistral straight.
That's it. And like I've said, the Ferrari there, Francis, must be running quite a low wing, because normally the Ferrari's quite fast for that first sector. Well, the Lambo must be running that high wing, and now he just loses all that time. But maybe the Ferrari's tyres will drop off towards the end of the race. Maybe them last few laps there will be able to get that a little bit closer and just stay closer in the slipstream right now.
Yeah, it's potential. It depends how. Again, I think the Ferrari's tyres are only really going to drop off if Rosendahl starts pushing them into uncomfortable territory, which so far he's not been able to do. But again, look how close he can get here through the corners. But it's when he gets into any zone that he's actually able to overtake. But Francis actually makes a mistake, goes a little bit wide, and he did hit that bump as he was coming back on as well. So unsettled the car a little bit. But again, Rosendahl just not able to make any grounds as even through the mistake of Francis.
That may be a warning for Francis there, because if you have 2 wheels over that left-hand curb on the exit there, that is a warning. So this could be a warning for him as well.
Yep, he's definitely got a warning, I can tell you that for sure. His lap time is invalid. So definitely one warning went his way. But again, he's managed to keep the gap, and for him right now, that's what's most important,
Yeah, Rosendahl just needs to keep his head in, not over push. Do you know what I mean? He's matching the lead, he's staying in the slipstream. Because you can start over pushing, and then if he loses the toe right now to Francis, I feel like he'll drop off the back. Oh, a little mistake there by Francis. This is really going to allow him to close up here.
Yep, this is the exact area he needs to make sure he gets a good exit in. And if he can stay this close, he should get a good slipstream and be able to make a move. But look at the speed Francis has just coming out of those corners. He's able to get a little bit of a gap. Now, Rosendahl has the best slipstream he's had this entire race. Is he actually able to make the move into the braking zone?
Yeah, Francis hit the bump there. The Ferrari's so picky, but Francis actually took the left onto the straight too tight, hit that bump, bottomed the car out, lost all his drive onto the straight.
Yep, but it's still not enough. It's still just not enough for Rosendahl.
No, and he made a big mistake there. He went too tight. He should have stayed out wide, carried all that momentum round.
Yeah, he's nearly actually carried too much and slid off again. But this is what I was saying. Rosendahl's pressuring him now. You can see Francis is just making a few mistakes as he breaks a little bit deep there, manages to cut back and keep it going. But again, you can see now Francis is under pressure. Rosendahl is only a 10th behind, and he's pushing Francis into these areas. He's making him brake later than he wants to brake. He's making him cover corners he doesn't want to cover. And Rosendahl now, all you have to do is just keep forcing errors. But on that lap, Rosendahl did get himself a track warning as well. So he does also need to make sure that he's not causing his own race to have issues.
And it looks like Battori picked up a drive-through penalty.
Yep, he got that for track limits as well. So again, it's so difficult this track to not grab yourself a drive-through penalty. As we just have a look as well about Black's card stepping out a little bit on the rear. It was very exciting to see, but now we jump back to the front. We've got Rosendahl again all over the back of Francis, coming out of the traction zone onto this long straight, and again he's just so close. But is it close enough? I don't think it is.
I feel like Francis though, he's just looking in that rear view mirror too much now. I feel like he's not taking that normal race line. He's defending constantly, which is allowing Rosendahl just to get closer and closer each lap.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Spence Rob isn't gaining enough to actually make it count. We'll just have a look here as well about trying to find if there's anyone else with some close action. We've got Kula, Shelikins and Vittori all close together, but Vittori will be needing to come into the pits probably this lap, so he'll be getting out of this fight. But Shelikins and Kula, that fight could be going on for the Mercedes right on the back of the Lambo, and we saw kind of last race the Lambo was struggling, and in this race kind of struggling to get close to the other cars around it. So we'll see if that develops into anything. But as we jump back as well, just having a look through, yeah, I think Pittori should be coming into the thing as we get another drive-through for car 158, which is Dello. His race has now been put back into the bin. He did manage to claim that P6.
Oh no!
But a drive-through penalty is, we see a mistake there from Black, and that's just allowing. Was it from Black?
Looks like Shelikins.
Right. Yeah, but he has managed to keep the position. But that was wide again. His back end was stepping out again. He's fighting really hard to keep Battori behind, but Battori has a drive-through, so probably don't really need to be fighting this as hard as you are.
I feel for Delu there. He's had the pace, took pole. He's been spun, no fault of his own in the first corner. Amazing recovery, and then just over pushing. But yeah, he should be happy the way he drifted though. You know, definitely going to be a contender for the championship, right? Keeps driving like that.
Yeah, honestly, he should hold himself. Feel proud for what he managed to achieve today after a very kind of poor start. Part of it was, his own doing for just having a really poor launch from the start, but yeah, the spin definitely was not his fault. He was just caught up in some late braking from other drivers, and he's pushed really hard to try and get back in there, and in the end he pushed too hard.
Yeah, but trainer from P14 up to P6 now, he must be loving life. Even that was his teammate. So that's a great result for him, right?
Yeah, he's doing a good job, but I think again the pace difference between him and Holzer's not in his favour. So P6 looks like that's the best he can attain today with only 5 minutes to go for this race.
Rosendahl did an amazing job though. Like the Ferrari is probably down the McLaren are the quickest cars here. The Lambo's like a couple of attempts off, so doing an amazing job just to even stay with the Ferraris.
Yeah, Rosendahl's driving really well. Again, he's made Francis make a few mistakes, but again, just the kind of straight line speed difference has meant that because of the way this track's designed, he's not really been able to capitalise on the mistakes that he's forced upon Francis, and unless he can pull something out of the bag, he's probably going to end up sitting in P2. He needs to pull out some real special lap times to try and overturn that pace difference that Francis has in the straight line. I'm having a look through. I can't really see if there's any other really close battles on the track, unfortunately. So we'll kind of keep with this fight at the front and see who is going to win this race.
Amazing job by Francis. He's had a lot of pressure, right? Since the pit stop, so for half hour he's had this Lamborghini in the mirror, around half a second. So yeah, great stuff by him today. Great drive.
Yeah, it's been a great drive. To be honest, I think most of the drivers have had a pretty good race, you know, all things considered.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a few incidents, track limits, warnings and stuff, but you're always going to get that at France.
Dodgy pit stops, you know.
To be fair, I think the dodgy pit stops are probably inexcusable.
You have to make me feel better than.
Well, if it makes you feel better, you were still the fastest man on the track, so.
Yeah, but it don't mean nothing, right? When you got two drive-throughs.
You know, I suppose you were the fastest man on the track and the fastest man in the pits, so.
Oh, he's
like...
mean.
He built you up earlier just to knock you down. Now.
Yeah, right. I'm not myself down. I even said to my chat, I was like, guys, never doing that starting from the back again. Because if I'd started at the front, we may have got this. Like, I may have recovered even further. So, never doing that. Never doing that again.
Yeah, I was saying it in the commentary. I was like, "Yep, you're definitely, you know, doing this on purpose in qualifying," and because I'd watched you set, you know, plenty of clean laps in the free practice, and I was like, "Yep, this is clearly on purpose doing this now in the qualifying." So you know, we'll see how the race goes, and yeah, my co-commentator was like, no, there's no way he's doing this on purpose. You'd want to get at least one banker lap in. I was like, no, he wants to start from the back. We'll see what happens. And yeah, very nearly was the drive of a lifetime.
Yeah, would have been good, right?
Yeah.
Big fight coming on here, right? For P10, 9, and 8.
Yeah, it does look like it's all kind of convergent at the moment, but you know, Lazelle's just getting on the back of Black.
Yeah.
Was right on the back of Selikins, but he has lost out a little bit here, so I don't know if he made a slight mistake, but Selikins is also right onto the back of Kula, so yeah, the final lap that they might be able to all bunch up and make a move, but Selikins has got a potential P7 on the cards right in front of him. He's backed out of this nice and early. He's not putting Kula under the pressure you would expect, but we can see now behind as well, Lazelle has managed to make the move on Black. So that was a great move from Lazelle, and Black's there just now trying to stay with this pack. He's got one more lap in which he can try and make this work. As we just see Kula go a little bit wide, but he has managed to get it back on the track just in front of Selikins. But yeah, these guys, it's going to be a kind of potentially a photo finish for the next lap.
And the Mercedes, right, has the lowest top speed of any car, even the Porsche, on this track as well. Oh, Black nearly rear-ended.
Black's made a mistake.
Yeah.
That's him out the running for this one. But yep, Lazelle, Selikins and Kula fighting away for P7. And again, I want to just bring attention to my boy in P5, Holzer, doing a great race. You know, he's been kind of all on his own for a long time, but he's kept his concentration. He's not had any mistakes. He's not getting any warnings and penalties, so it looks like he should be able to finish P5, and that's a great result for him. But at the front, Rosendahl, right on the back of Francis again, trying his hardest to make this stick in this final sector, but there's just nowhere to overtake here unless he goes for a big dive bomb in the final turn. Which it doesn't look like he's close enough to do. So Francis, if he keeps it nice and clean in this final turn, which he does, will come home and be your race winner.
Great drive there from Francis, under a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah, well deserved, really well deserved. And Spence Robb coming in to take that final place on the podium after a great recovery drive from him. Lagalante kind of been nowhere near anyone since the you know, the lap 5 or so, sitting in a very lonely P4, but again, very well driven, also in P5, but as we jump back to check out what's been going on, we can see Lazelle's trying to make the move on Selikins. He's making it up the inside. Selikins just keeps off the brakes there and allows him to slide on through, and that's a drive through there. Car number 5, which is Kula. Kula's just got a drive through on the final lap. That's taken him out of contention for this P7. That's big. One mistake on the final lap, and he's knocked himself out of the top 10. Oh, and Selikins is still trying to make the move work, and he shouldn't have done that. Selikins might now lose out to Lozelle if he managed to keep the foot in, but they all cross the line. But Kula will get a 30-second time penalty added onto his name, and he's going to drop all the way down. Black, a good debut race there, managing to finish in P9 once the penalties apply. So, very good drive from him. And Delo, you know, condolences for how hard you've had to race, but still managed to get in for a P10. So, well done to you.
Yeah, great recovery there. Just unfortunate about the drive-through, right?
Yeah, that's. The spin wasn't his fault, but the drive-through was, and it really did knock him out of the high point scoring positions. But still a good drive, and yeah, very well done for everyone who raced. That was some really good driving.
Give it all you got.
Yes, there was some very good driving tonight.
And now if we want to just take a look here at our top 10, we have the Francis finishing P1, Rosendahl finished in P2, Spence Rob in P3, Lagalante in P4, Holzer in P5, Trainer P6, Selikins in P7, Lozelle in P8, Adam Black on his debut, P9, great race, and final point of the 10th position for Delo in the Ferrari, which was a great drive from him. We've got there for the Pro-Ams, Rosendahl finishing P1, which is really great, Lagalante P2, and Holzer on P3. And for the amateurs, which is Spence Rob, Black, Vining, and Tillett. So, yeah, very good drive by all those guys. And as I say, Spence Rob, for one of the AM drivers, what a drive! That was incredible. Made one mistake the entire race, which was costly, but still right up there on the podium. So, great job.
Get that man out the AMs. He definitely doesn't. He's probably one of the fastest cars on track. He definitely needs to be in that pro group. Yeah, definitely. Oh dear, yeah, that was a great race. I'm so glad I watched that. That was fun, right? That was really fun. A lot of fast guys there. I'm going to be watching next week because I feel like if that little incident happened and happened at turn 1, there was like 4 or 5 guys on the same pace who could have battled for that win. So yeah, that was great stuff.
Yeah, it was great to see it last week as well. All the drivers are within like a second of each other, for the most part, which is great to see. It always brings really close, tight racing, and that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want to see. So, yeah. Good job from everyone, and yeah, we'll see you all next week for some more Octane Online Racing. I want to thank you both for joining me in the commentary box. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. It was actually great. My first ever time, guys. First ever time in the commentary box, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Great stuff today, and great racing as well. Great race.
You were a natural.
Ah, lovely, great. These guys are just buttering me up. I can feel it.
I'm glad I was able to make it. There was a little miscommunication on the time zone conversion, but I still made it in time.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys, and we will see you next week.